Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the Broccoli Fanfics. Back with amazing fanfiction. This is the series of What If Deku Had Ghostly Assassin Quirk. Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Izuku opened his eyes to see a cake with 4 lit candles. Happy birthday Izuku, his parents greeted him in unison. And we have a gift for you, sweetie, his mother said as she handed Izuku a gift box. We know how much you love All Might, son. And although I'm not very fond of the man, his mother elbowed his father on his side, that we still wanted to give you this. Izuku opened the box and grinned widely when he saw what was inside. It was an All Might plushie. Mom, Dad, thank you so much. I'll treasure it forever. Can I be a hero like All Might? Izuku asked, hugging his All Might plushie. He saw his mother look back at his father who was leaning at the door frame. Of course you can, sweetie, she said as he tucked him into bed and kissed his forehead. Good night. Izuku closed his eyes as his parents left. Just before falling asleep, he heard his parents' voices outside the room. Our son is 4 years old now, Inko. He's not showing any signs of a quirk. Maybe he's just a late boomer, Hisashi. Or he just doesn't know how to activate it yet. Regardless, we're gonna have to get him to a quirk doctor. Izuku hugged his All Might plushie in his room, covering his ears from the constant arguing of his parents. You're really just gonna leave us for that FNG brat? My protege shows more promise for achieving my goals. I have no use for a useless quirkless child. Quirkless. Useless. It's Izuku's fault they were fighting. If he just wasn't quirkless, then maybe none of this would have happened. Are you really putting that above our family? A few moments later, he heard the loud thud of their front door closing. Izuku headed downstairs to their living room. He could hear the quiet sobs of her mother. Mom. She looked at Izuku with her big teary eyes. Oh, Izuku. She pulls him into a tight hug. It'll be okay, sweetie. He may have left us, but we still have each other. Izuku got bullied in school. All of his classmates started making fun of him the moment the teachers announced that he was diagnosed quirkless. Kaken started calling him Deku. Useless. He felt like he lost every friend he had that day. Izuku could see his mother hurting too. She had darker bags under her eyes, and she would often get in a bad mood. She would come home smelling like alcohol, sometimes blood, and sometimes both. Izuku would hear her mutter about how she hates her job, which leads him to wonder what her actual job is, but he's too afraid to ask. One time, when his mother came home drunk, she slapped Izuku hard in the cheek. She cursed his quirklessness. She cursed about his father leaving. The beatings became part of their daily routine. Izuku found his All Might plushie as a source of comfort. It was a reminder of times when they were still a complete family, when his parents still loved him. Those were happy times. He would hug it tightly as he cried himself to sleep. Everything was painful, but Izuku still loved his mother. She would always apologize the next morning, giving him lots of hugs and kisses. And he would always forgive her. It was the least he could do. One night, like any other, his mother came home smelling like blood and alcohol. Izuku took the usual beatings, but noticed that she's becoming more violent this time. He hugged his All Might plushie, wishing that everything would just go away. He sees his mother use her quirk to grab a cleaver from the kitchen. Izuku's eyes go wide. He was suddenly laying on the ground, with his mother kneeling next to him, gripping the knife. Izuku would never forget the expression on his mother's face. He felt a sting of pain on his neck, then everything faded to black. Spectre, Vim called out to him as he handed Spectre a folder. Spectre opens the file and schemes the contents. According to Vamp's reports, that journalist had been seen sharing incriminating information about a certain flaming hero to villains. And you want me to? The usual, make it look like an accident. Vim sighed before taking a sip at his coffee. Spectre sighs and closes his tired eyes. Of course. Spectre walks the familiar streets of Mizudafu, careful not to lose sight of the man he was following. The man just got back from drinking at a bar. That makes it a lot easier for Spectre. He watches the man stagger before stopping at a pedestrian. He slowly crept behind the man. The man was waiting to cross the road when Spectre pushed him from behind, just enough to make him stumble. The man fell forward, and before he could process what just happened, he got hit by a zooming truck. The people around them gaped in shock. The truck driver got off his vehicle, panicking, while a bystander tried to check the dead man's pulse. Spectre was about to leave when the bystander stepped in and pulled out a badge. "I am a detective from the police department. Please stay away from the crime scene." "Detective?" Spectre decided to stay and watch a little longer. The detective examined the scene, talking to the driver and the witnesses. A few minutes go by and a police car and an ambulance arrive. One policeman with a cat head approached the detective who was crouching down near the corpse. "Sir, what's the situation?" "Sansa, look at this." The detective held up an ID card to Sansa. "Ishi. Wait, ain't that the guy you were investigating the other week?" "Yes, he was." The detective had a grim look on his face. "Sir, do you think the HPSC had something to do with Ishii's death?" "I don't know. According to the witnesses, the man was drunk. There's no evidence pointing that this wasn't an accident." The detective stood up and looked at Sansa straight in the eye. "I know the HPSC has something to do with this. They can't get away with multiple accidental deaths of journalists. Spectre should report this to his superior, but a part of him doesn't want to see the detective's corpse." He took one last glance at the detective. Sighing, Spectre left the scene. He did not see a thing. He did not hear a thing. And then he bled lots of blood, Izuku. Like whoosh. Himiko said, flailing her arms around. Izuku and Toga Himiko were walking around Mizudafu, just chatting about random stuff. It was a way for them to relax from all the stressful work the HPSC has been giving them recently. Then my disguise started to wear off, so I quickly stabbed a bunch of them. Good thing you got out of there just in time. Yeah. There was this mist guy who helped me. Mist guy? Yeah. He killed all of them with his quirk. What was his quirk? Izuku asked. He kinda made these dark purple mist that chopped off their heads. Dark purple mist guy. That sounds oddly familiar. Were they like portals? I guess yeah. After everyone was dead, he offered me a deal. He said he was supposed to recruit the guys earlier, but they got into a disagreement. So he asked me if I wanted to join. I said that I was gonna think about it. Did you report all that to the HPSC? Nah. I only told them what they needed to know. Are you going to rat me out, Izuku? Of course not, Himiko. I don't report everything either, so don't rat me out, okay? Okay, Izuku. That's a promise. So, are you gonna join the mist guy? Well. Suddenly they heard a loud explosion nearby. They both turned to look at source of the noise and walked towards the commotion. There was a villain made out of sludge holding a kid hostage. None of the heroes are doing anything except watch as the kid was trying desperately to free himself by making explosions from his hands. Wait, explosions? Izuku took a closer look and saw that that kid was none other than Bakugo Katsuki, his childhood friend. That's Kaken. Kaken? Isn't that your? He tried to assess the situation. Kaken is going to suffocate to death if no one does anything. The villain was covering him with his sludge body, blocking Kaken's supply of air. Izuku examined the villain closely. His eyes could be a weakness. He needed something that could blind the villain. Enough to startle him, giving Izuku a short leeway to free Kaken. Himiko pulls at his sleeve. I know that look, Izuku. You could get in trouble if you try to intervene. Himiko's right, he shouldn't be playing hero. But the actual heroes who are here are just standing there watching. Suddenly green eyes met red. Izuku immediately dashed towards the villain, leaving Himiko in the crowd. He can't let Kaken die. He'd hate himself even more if he'd let that happen. No one noticed Izuku yet. He took a small knife from his pocket and threw it at the sludge villain's eyes with accuracy. This caused the villain to scream in pain, temporarily loosing his grip on Kaken, allowing him to finally breathe. The crowd behind him finally noticed his presence. Izuku touched the sludge holding Kaken, which made the villain freeze for a second. He tried to pull his childhood friend away from the villain. Kaken! Izuku could see Kaken finally getting a gasp of air. Why are you here? There are many reasons why Izuku shouldn't be here, but one thing was for certain. You looked like you were asking for help. The villain was about to hit him with his sludge, but Izuku dodged the attack, though he lost his grip on Kaken. He tried to reach for Kaken again when suddenly he saw a flash of yellow in front of him. Detroit Smash. Izuku felt like he was about to be blown away by All Might's powerful punch. Himiko ran up to Izuku and tackled him in a hug. Izuku. I'll be fine, Himiko, he whispered to her. Heroes approached them and Izuku got majorly scolded. He just kept on apologizing, hoping that the heroes would finally leave him alone. In contrast to Izuku, Kaken got praised for his bravery and powerful quirk. They said he had potential to be a top hero, and Izuku would gladly agree. After the heroes were done scolding him, a man approached them. It was the detective from last time. I'm Detective Tsukachi Naomasa. What's your name? Izuku hesitated for a bit before answering. Midoriya Izuku. Well, Midoriya, are you aware that you committed an act of vigilantism? No, I didn't. Tsukachi frowned. Didn't you just run in to save that kid from the villain? Izuku stayed silent. He can't exactly tell the detective that he's exempted from those laws since he works for the HPSC. You can't arrest him. Himiko exclaimed next to him. He did nothing wrong. Tsukachi stared at them for a while. Izuku is in so much trouble. If this gets back to cousin then, putting yourself in danger like that was reckless, Midoriya. I'll leave you off with a warning. Don't get in any more trouble, okay? Izuku and Himiko let out a sigh of relief. Thank you so much, detective. Izuku smiled at him. Guess they're even now. Do you? Izuku couldn't escape this confrontation, even if he were to use his quirk. I never asked you for help. Hi, Kaken. It's been a while, huh? Izuku just gave him a sheepish grin. Wow. It's been F years, Deku. You can't just F show up out of nowhere like that. Kaken was fuming. Izuku just stared at Kaken for a good second until he started chuckling to himself. Kaken gave him a confused frown. Well, that's one way of saying I miss you. F you. I missed you too. He would be lying if he said he didn't miss Kaken. The last time they saw each other was before he didn't know you were still alive, Deku. You look like sheet. Yeah, Izuku hid behind his scarf. So you're Kaken? Himiko piped in. Huh? Who is this beach? Oh, I should probably introduce you guys. Kaken, this is Toga Himiko. Himiko, this is Bakugu Katsuki. Nice to meet ya. Himiko snatched Kaken's hand and shook it. Can I call you Bakken? No. Kaken pulled his hand back. I'm gonna call you Bakken. Didn't you hear me the first time, beach? Izuku chuckled. He looked off into the distance and noticed the detective about to leave in a police car. An idea popped into his head. We should probably go now, Himiko. It's getting dark. Bye, Kaken. Izuku waved goodbye while dragging Himiko with him. Ha! Izuku and Himiko ran off. Get your butt back here, Deku. Himiko, I have something I need to do. Cover for me. Okay, Izuku. He could hear Kaken chasing after them, but when he turned the corner, only Himiko was to be found. Ha! Where the F is the... Dunno, Himiko shrugged. Whatever. Kaken walked away. Bye, Bakken. Tsukachi Naomasa entered the police station and sat down at his desk. Is it just me, or did the room just got colder? Sansa asked. Huh. I do feel like the room got colder, an unexpected voice spoke. Eraserhead? What are you doing here? Naomasa jumped from his seat. Eraserhead stood up and approached him. I've been hearing about a new villain group recruiting members. Thought I'd ask if you know anything about it. Sorry, Eraser. I was working on a different case. What case? I could offer some help. It's not an official case. I've been investigating something recently. What is it? Okay, so, don't share this to anyone, 'cause if word gets out, I might get silenced. Permanently. Eraserhead slightly narrowed his eyes. Go on. I think the HPSC is killing off journalists. It's pretty normal for people to die in accidents. But I've noticed a pattern recently. There had been 5 people who died in accidents like a car accident, or a house fire, or a home invasion, and all of them had been journalists. And not only that, according to my investigation, the last article they were working on before they died were scandalous things about top heroes. Ain't that too much of a coincidence? I see what you mean, it is suspicious. Do you have any evidence? Sadly no, this is all just speculation on my part. I think you're on to something, Tsukachi. Are you aware that the HPSC has a special division? They once sent an agent to recruit me right after I graduated from UA. They promised to support my hero career as long as I'm obedient. Nizu warned me about them before I graduated and advised me to decline their offer, so I did. Did that agent wear some kind emblem or brooch? I can't recall. Why'd you ask? Is it possible that this special division also trains kids? The number 3 hero, Hawks, was trained by the HPSC at a young age. I saw these 2 kids earlier today. One of them got involved in a villain attack and tried to save the hostage, but All Might stepped in to save them. All Might mentioned that the kid had skill. He said he had pretty good aim and was quick to dodge. Sounds like a problem child. While interrogating him, I noticed that those 2 kids were wearing a brooch. And I've only seen that brooch being worn once by an HPSC agent I encountered when I was involved in a confidential case 5 years ago. The case when All Might fought All for One, which the HPSC asked to be hidden from the public. What was their name? I believe he went by Vim. Eraserhead's eyes widened slightly. That's the same guy who tried to recruit me. I see, but that doesn't really prove my theory that they're assassinating journalists. You could ask Nizu about it. You're right. I could do that. Naomasa just hopes that Nizu will be on their side. If Nizu warned Eraserhead about the HPSC, he could be trusted, right? If you have any new information about the new villain group recruitment, inform me about it. I'll be taking my leave. Stay safe, Eraser. You too. As Eraserhead left the room got warmer. It was the next day. Naomasa knocked at Nizu's office door at UA. Come in. Naomasa opened the door to see Nizu on the couch sipping a cup of tea. Ah, Detective Tsukachi. Care to join me for tea? Thank you for the offer, but no thank you. Naomasa sat on the couch across Nizu. I wanted to ask you some questions, Principal Nizu. Ask away. Nizu said as he placed the teacup on the table. Do you know about any suspicious activity the HPSC has been doing recently? Just cut to the case, Tsukachi. What do you want to know? Naomasa looked at Nizu's black beady eyes. Well then, recently there have been 5 journalists who were killed because they were planning to expose some of the top heroes with incriminating information. Do you know if the HPSC are the ones behind their deaths? Nizu sat still for a moment, then sighed. Yes, I'm quite positive that the HPSC are the ones responsible. Naomasa clenched his fists. So you were aware of it all this time, and you're just letting it happen? The HPSC and I have made a silent agreement to not mess with each other's business. That's... As much as I don't like what they're doing, I do not have enough power to go against them. Can't we just publicly expose the HPSC? They can't just kill off a bunch of people when they face public backlash. There is too much at risk if I were to go against them, Tsukachi. What do you mean? There is a reason why this has been going on for generations. They have control on almost everything in this hero society. To go against the HPSC is to tear apart the current society that has been built. You're not even gonna try to fight for what's right? For someone who runs a hero school, you're being a coward right now, Nizu. Think what you want, Tsukachi. I did what I could. Naomasa stood up and headed for the door. Speaking of which, Nizu spoke, causing Naomasa to stop in his tracks. Following my suggestion, All Might will start teaching at UA for the upcoming school year to find a successor for One for All, and the HPSC might take a few measures since they don't fully trust me. I see. I'll be taking my leave. Thank you for your time, Principal Nizu. Specter walks in the HPSC building. On the way to the elevator he sees a familiar face. Yo Specter. Hawks. Hawks waved at him while Spectre greeted him with a small bow. Been a while. Yeah, Spectre smiled at him. Hawks pressed the elevator button. I was just here to send in my report on the case I worked on. I see. The elevator door opens and they both enter. Which floor? Hawks inquired. I was called by cousin to speak with her. Spectre said, rubbing his neck. Interesting. Why? Spectre raised an eyebrow. Nothing. It's just when the boss personally calls you in, it's not always a good thing, you know? You're not wrong. The elevator door opens and Hawks steps out. This is my floor. See you around, Izuku. The mention of his name caught him off guard. The elevator door slowly started to close as he huffed a response. Stupid Hawks. Don't call me that here. He pouted at Hawks as the elevator door closed. The elevator slowly rises to the top floor. Spectre walked out of the elevator. He headed towards cousin's office door and knocked twice. Come in. Spectre opens the door and enters to see the Hero Public Safety Commission president sitting on her chair. You asked to see me? Spectre, take a seat. Spectre complies. He takes a seat on chair near cousin's desk. The room was very quiet. Spectre could hear the sound of the clock ticking. Finally, cousin broke the silence. I called you here to give you your new mission. But it won't be like your usual missions. I could have assigned this to someone else, but I deemed you to be the most fit for this task. She hands him a folder. He opens it up to see a picture of All Might and some private information about him. Information that the public shouldn't know. As you know, All Might's quirk is a borrowed power. A few months from now, he'll be coming to UA as a teacher to find a new successor. And you want me to be at UA? Yes. You will come to UA as a hero course student, and at the same time, I want you to be there as a secret escort for All Might. He will not be aware of your identity as an escort and do everything to make sure he doesn't. Coming to UA? An escort? Spectre was baffled. I have a question, ma'am. Spectre closes the folder. What is it? But won't he be in good hands at UA? Cousin sighed. She stood up from her seat and walked towards the window, eyeing the view of the city. We have not been in good terms with the principal Nizu. Once that rat gets his filthy paws on All Might and One for All, who knows what he'll do? Is the principal really that much of a threat? You know fully well what happens in the HPSC behind closed doors, right, Spectre? I wouldn't be surprised if Nizu is aware of everything. And now that All Might will be teaching at UA, he might use him against us. The commission worked very hard in making All Might the symbol of peace. Of course, the HPSC could always work their magic in covering up things like these, but I would like to avoid any damage to be done to our image. A damage done by All Might and Nizu would be quite the heavy blow. Cousin turned around to look at Spectre dead in the eyes. Looking at her eyes was hypnotizing. Do you understand? Yes, ma'am. Good. You are dismissed. Spectre took the folder and exited the room. Izuku sat in his bedroom, thinking of all the pieces he had. All Might will be teaching at UA. One for All is finding a successor. Nizu's not exactly on good terms with the HPSC. The detective, Tsukachi Naomasa, has suspicions about the HPSC. Kiroshima looking for new villain recruits. Himiko possibly joining them. His father. Izuku carefully thought of what he was going to do. He could pull this off if he planned it carefully. A way to remove a few of his shackles. Izuku reached out to his phone and dialed an unregistered number. After a few rings, the person on the other end picked up. Izuku? What brought you to make this call? I need your help with something. Of course, anything for my dear son. Kiroshima, get rid of these guys. I can already tell they're exactly the kind of trash I hate, some brats and a guy with no manners. A guy with messy grayish-blue hair with a disembodied hand covering his face spoke. Izuku was currently in a dim-lit bar along with Himiko. He was there to meet Sensei's protégé, Shigaraki Tamura. Now, Shigaraki Tamura. They came all this way, the least we could do is hear them out. Give them a chance. Besides, it was Sensei who recommended them through his trusted connections. They're bound to be valuable assets. Kiroshima, a man made out of dark purple mist standing behind the bar, said. Izuku was the first to introduce himself. Hi, I'm Midoriya Izuku. Nice to meet you, Shigaraki. Wait, can I call you Tamura? I'll call you Tamura, so call me Izuku, okay? Izuku said with a big friendly smile. He wanted to call him by his first name. It only seems appropriate since they are technically brothers. Although, Izuku thinks that Tamura doesn't know that. For now, it'll be best if he doesn't. I'm Toga. Toga Himiko. Life is too hard. People keep telling me what not to do. I want the world to be an easier place to live in. I want to become the people I love. I want to see them so bloodied up. So please let me join your villain group, Shiggy. What the is she crazy? These two are assassins from the HPSC. Their skills and knowledge would be useful to us. Kurogiri said. Assassins. That seemed to have piqued Tamura's interest. You could say we're the ones who do the dirty work behind the scenes, Izuku informed. But they're really mean to us. So we don't like them. Himiko pouted. Now for this young man. He hasn't committed any flashy crimes, but Sensei believes he would be useful to you, Shigaraki. Kurogiri motions to the man on Izuku's left. He had dark black hair and his skin was covered with burns and staples. I don't like this. What is this organization for anyway? Don't tell me the leader of this group is this man-child. Those brats may be annoying, but at least they know how to introduce themselves. Give me your name. I currently go by Dabi. No, I want you to tell me your real name, Tamura demanded. I'm curious about it too, Izuku muttered. I'll tell you when you need to know it. Anyways, I have my own agenda. I'm only using this group to help me achieve my goal. Izuku is really curious about Dabi. Those scars must have an interesting story behind them. Ugh, Tamura started scratching his neck as he stood up. I don't like them. Shigaraki, you mustn't. They're really pissing me off. It all happened in an instant. Tamura launched himself towards them. Izuku shot his wires, Himiko took out her knife, and smoke was coming out of Dabi's hands as they attacked. Before anyone could maim the other, black mist portals appeared across the room, redirecting their hands away from them. Please calm yourself, Shigaraki Tamura. If your desires are to be realized, then we must increase our numbers. Kurogiri warned. Shut up. Tamura went back to his chair and sat down. Does this mean you'll let us join your villain group, Shiggy? Himiko asked. Yeah, whatever. As long as you're useful. Yay. They were all sitting at the bar, drinking their respective drinks that they got from Kurogiri. Izuku got a milkshake, Himiko was sipping on some red-flavored juice, Dabi got his bottle of beer and Tamura got a glass of water. Hey Tamura, I'm very curious. What do you want to achieve with this villain group? I want to kill All Might, the symbol of peace. Why? Dabi asked. Because I hate him and the current hero society that he represents. I want to destroy it all. I see. As promised with All for One, I will be able to help you. Izuku said. Oh. A few months from now, I will be studying at UA, and All Might will there as a teacher. Use me properly and you might be able to get what you want. You think you'd be able to kill All Might? Dabi was doubtful. Don't worry. Sensei has something in the works that would help us kill All Might. Tamura stated. Your sensei, huh? Hey Shiggy, what should we name our villain group? I already have a name in mind. Everyone looked at Tamura. Will be called the League of Villains. Utter silence. Oh wow, okay. Izuku was kinda disappointed. The League of Villains, huh? What a lame name, Dabi snickered. It's a cool name. Tamura protested. How was your meeting with Tamura, Izuku? All for One asked. Kurogiri warped Izuku to a familiar dark room after Himiko. And Dabi left the bar. It was fine. He's interesting. I wonder what you did to make him like that. A pitiful sight. I'm sure you could take a guess. All for One chuckled. I want you to take good care of Tamura. He still has room to grow and I want you to help him. Babysitting? Wow, you left me and Mom for Tamura and now you have the guts to tell me to take care of him? You're terrible. Izuku scoffed. Izuku. All for One said lowly, but Izuku just looked at him with cold eyes. Save it. I'll be taking my leave. Of course. Kurogyri, all for one called out to the darkness and the mist villain appeared. Warp Izuku near the train station. Yes, sensei. Izuku never thought he'd be entering the front gates of UA, let alone taking the entrance exam, but there he was. Break a leg. Halt said from the driver's seat next to him. And I mean that figuratively and literally. Gee, thanks, Izuku said as he exited the car. Pick me up after the entrance exams? What am I, your driver? Go home by yourself. But halt, what if I broke my leg? You expect poor me to travel in that poor state? Izuku looked at her with puppy dog eyes. Deal with it. Halt shouted as she drove off. Izuku chuckled. It was always fun to banter with Halt. He took a deep breath and started walking towards UA. He was already informed that the practical exam had something to do with fighting robots. Izuku doesn't really have any experience on that, but he hopes that his knives and wires will be enough. Why is it robots anyway? It's not exactly fair for those whose quirks are not good with offense but are still useful in combat and hero work. Izuku's train of thought was interrupted when he felt someone come in contact with his shoulder. He watched as the blonde-haired boy stop in place and shivered. What the? Izuku took a deep breath as Kaken turned to look at him with wide eyes. Oh, morning Kaken. Let's both do our best. Deku, what the F is your quirkless but doing here? You think UA will accept such a weakling like you? First off, rude. Second, I do have a quirk. And third, I'm not weak, not anymore. Ah, stop lying, Deku. You never had a FING quirk. Sigh, could you please just ignore me and be on your way, Kaken? Izuku will not have this argument. Kaken stared at him for a moment, observing him. Izuku thought he was gonna explode on him again, but he guessed he thought wrong. Just stay out of my way or I'll kill you, Kaken finally said as he stormed away. Izuku sighed. Dealing with Kaken will be difficult. Oh well, he had more important things to deal with. But now, focus on passing the exam. He was about to start walking again when suddenly he tripped on his own foot. Just my luck. He was expecting to face plant on the floor when suddenly he realized he was floating. Are you alright? Izuku looked to see source of the voice. It was a cute girl with short brown hair and chubby rosy cheeks. I am. She put her hands together to connect her fingertips, which made Izuku stop floating. It's my quirk. Sorry for using it on you without asking first. But it'd be bad luck if you fell, right? Why ya? It's very nerve-wracking, isn't it? Let's do our best. See ya. Izuku didn't get to respond as the girl walked away. After completing the written portion of the entrance exam, Izuku was seated inside a big orientation room filled with other examinees, and right next to him was Kaken. Lovely. For all you examinee listeners tuning in, welcome to my show. A pro hero on stage spoke. Everybody say, hey. Silence. What a refined response. I'll quickly present to you the rundown on the practical exam. Are you ready? Silence. Oh my god. It's the voice hero, Present Mike. Amazing. I listen to his radio show every week. It's amazing that all the teachers at UA are pro heroes. Izuku muttered with excitement. Shut up. Kaken said next to him. As it says in the application requirements, Present Mike continued, you listeners will be conducting 10-minute mock urban battles. You can bring whatever you want with you. After this presentation, you'll head to the specified battle center, okay? Silence. Izuku was starting to feel pity for the man. Okay. Present Mike cheered to himself. So they won't let you work with your friends, huh? Kaken looked at their exam cards. Yeah. Even though our examinee numbers are consecutive, we're assigned to different battle centers. Izuku glanced at Kaken exam card. Don't look at my card. I'll kill you. Then, I was looking forward to crush you. There are 3 different types of foe villains stationed in each battle station. You earn points for each of them based on their level of difficulty. Your goal, dear listeners, is to use your quirks to earn points by immobilizing the foe villains. Of course, attacking other examinees and any other unheroic actions are prohibited. Present Mike explained. Excuse me, sir, but I have a question. Someone in the room spoke up. Shoot. On the printout, You listed 4 types of villains, not 3. If this is an error on official UA materials, then it is shameful. We examinees are here because we wish to be molded into exemplary heroes. We expect the best from Japan's most notable school. A mistake such as this won't do. In addition, you over there with the curly hair, Izuku was startled when the boy in glasses suddenly pointed at him. Huh. You've been muttering this whole time. It's distracting. If you can't bother to take this seriously, then you should leave immediately. What the hell? I'm sorry. Alright. Examinee number, thanks for calling in with your request. The 4th villain type is worth 0 points. That guy's just an obstacle we'll be throwing in your way. There's one in every battle center. It's not that it can't be beaten, but there's no reason to defeat it either. I recommend that you listeners should try to avoid it. Thank you very much. Sorry for the interruption. The glasses guy said as he sat back down. That's all I got for you today. I'll sign you off with a little present, our school motto. The hero Napoleon Bonaparte once said, "A true hero is someone who overcomes life's misfortunes. Go beyond. Plus ultra." Izuku was hyped. This should be fun. Now, everyone, good luck. Izuku was standing outside the entrance of the battle center B. It's huge. UA is truly amazing. Looking at everyone gathered here, they all look like they have interesting quirks. Izuku can't wait to see them in action, but he doesn't think he'll be able to fully analyze them since he'll be focusing on his own battles. Looking at the crowd, Izuku spotted a familiar figure. It was the brown-haired girl who helped him earlier at the school gates when he tripped. She was assigned to the same battle center, huh? Izuku totally forgot to thank her earlier. Izuku was walking towards the girl when he felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned around to see it was the glasses guy. He's here too? That girl appears to be trying to focus. What are you going to do? Distract her and ruin her chances to succeed? The glasses guy scolded. Seriously? This guy bothered him twice now. It's pretty annoying. Of course not. I'm quite offended that you're making rude assumptions about me, Izuku sassed. My apologies. I didn't mean to be rude. I was simply concerned for my fellow examinees, the glasses guy said. Izuku just walked away. He sighed as he stood close to this very gloomy-looking guy. You nervous? Izuku asked to the purple-haired boy. Yeah. I kind of feel like I'm at a disadvantage. How come? My quirk doesn't exactly work on robots, the boy mumbled. Guess we're on the same boat. My quirk is not really suited for destroying robots either. Izuku rubbed his neck while flashing a friendly smile. Yeah. All they care about are flashy quirks. It's pretty unfair. I guess so. But I don't think destroying robots is the only way to get points. What do you mean? Okay, start. Everyone was surprised and confused at the sudden announcement from Present Mike. What's wrong? There are no countdowns in a real battle. Izuku adjusted his scarf as he prepared to run. This is a hero school. Being a hero isn't just about defeating the bad guys, he said to the purple-haired boy. Good luck. In a blink of an eye, he disappeared. Izuku silently observed the robots below from the top of a building. Looking at the robots, it doesn't look like he would be able to cut them up with his knife, nor cut any exposed wires. Guess he has to settle with his wires. Izuku put on his special black gloves. It was made with a very strong material, and on its fingertips were claws connected to a spool of thin yet strong wire that is attached at the backhand of the gloves. Below he could see 3 people running away from a couple of robots, 1 3-pointer, 3 2-pointers, and 2 1-pointers. He jumped down. He tapped his claws together, making them shoot out from the glove. He dashed around the robots while moving his hands to control the wires, making them wrap around the robots. With one tug, the robots were binded together, unable to move. This caused the robots to smoke and malfunction, and after a few seconds the robots stopped moving. The people who were running away were surprised at his sudden appearance, and just stared at him with awe. You're welcome. Izuku grinned at them. Izuku flicked his hands, making the wires retract with the claws coming back in place on his gloves. Izuku continued the process of incapacitating robots with his wires, while trying to save and help people who were hurt in the process. Suddenly the ground started shaking. A gigantic robot emerged from the ground, causing the nearby buildings to collapse. This must be the zero-pointer. The zero-pointer punched the ground, creating a shockwave that destroyed the road and nearby structures. Everyone around him started running away from the direction of the destructive robot. Isn't this a little too much? Izuku was about to retreat when he heard someone cry in pain. The clouds of smoke and dust cleared and he saw the brown-haired girl on the floor. Her leg was stuck underneath a pile of rubble. He immediately dashed towards her. "Are you okay?" "It's why," the girl grunted in pain. Izuku used his wires to pull the large rubble, lifting it just enough to let the girl slip her leg out. "Can you walk?" The girl shook her head. "I'm gonna have to carry you." Izuku carried the brown-haired girl bridal style. This made her blush a little. He ran as fast as he can away from the zero-pointer. "Thank you for saving me." "No problem." He gave her a reassuring smile. As Izuku was running, a flash of red ran past him. He turned to look back at the person. The guy with red hair quickly jumped up high in the air, ready to punch the gigantic robot. Smash! The zero-pointer was pushed back by the strong punch and exploded. Everyone was frozen in shock. That Quirk, the red-haired boy, was falling from the sky. Izuku could see his limbs were bruised and dangling. Did he break his bones? Izuku looked at the girl he was carrying. She should be able to use her quirk to help the red-haired boy not crash to the ground. "Hey, quickly make yourself float. I'm gonna use my wires to toss you, then make that guy float too to break his fall." The girl nodded. She touched her arms and he felt the weight he was carrying disappear. Izuku quickly summoned his wires to wrap around the girl and tossed her up towards the falling redhead. The girl was able to reach the red-haired boy and slap him. They were both falling slowly. When they almost reached the ground, the girl released her quirk and started to vomit. "Time's up." Present Mike announced the end of the practical exams. "So practical exams are over, huh?" Izuku said to himself as he deflated. Fighting a bunch of robots was tiring. "Okay, good work." Izuku heard an old lady's voice. Good work, good work. Here you go, have some gummies," she said as she walked up to Izuku and handed him some gummy bears. "Oh my god. It's the youthful heroine, Recovery Girl." Izuku gasped. "Thank you." "You're welcome." Recovery Girl started walking towards the unconscious red-haired boy. "Oh dear, you were hurt this much by your own quirk? It looks like his bones are broken," Izuku muttered. "It's as if his body is not used to his quirk yet." Recovery Girl kissed the red-haired boy on the head. Izuku watched as the boy's limbs heal and turn back to normal. "Amazing! A quirk that could speed up the body's healing process. I feel so blessed to see it in action right in front of me. No wonder UA is able to hold a lot of reckless exams. They have a nurse with an incredible healing quirk on their side. I wonder what are the limits for a quirk like that? What's the limit for what she can heal? Is she able to control how much to heal? Are there any drawbacks for using such quirk?" Izuku continued to mutter about Recovery Girl's quirk. "Alright, let's finish this quickly. Is anyone else injured?" After Recovery Girl finished healing those who were injured, Izuku walked towards the brown-haired girl. "Are you good?" "Yeah. Thank you again for saving me. And that was some quick thinking you did. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have been able to save that guy." No. It was because of you and your quirk that we were able to help him. By the way, my name's Uraraka Ochako. What's yours?" "Midoriya Izuku." Izuku smiled softly at her. "I want to go see the red-haired boy if he's all right. We could visit him. I think he was already carried to the nurse's office. Wanna come?" "I'm pretty concerned for the guy too. He wanted to see if his suspicions were correct." Izuku and Uraraka headed towards the nurse's office. They could see the red-haired boy lying on one of the beds. "Hello," Uraraka greeted. "We wanted to check up on you. Hope I didn't slap you too hard." "So it was you who saved me from that fall. Man, I really thought I was gonna die back there." "Thank you." The boy grinned with his sharp teeth. "It wasn't just me who saved you. Midoriya was the one who thought of the plan." Uraraka pointed at Izuku. "Thanks for that, man. You guys are both so manly." It's no big deal. It was a pretty simple plan anyone could think of, Izuku muttered behind his scarf. Yeah, but you thought of it really fast. Don't sell yourself short, Uraraka patted his back. Yeah man. I'm Kiroshima Ijiro by the way. He pointed to himself with his thumb. Nice to meet you. I'm Midoriya Izuku. Izuku flashed him a bright smile. I'm Uraraka Ochako. Nice to meet you guys. Hope we all pass the entrance exam. I hope so too. You guys seem pretty nice to have as classmates. Uraraka said. Suddenly a skinny blonde man with a body of a skeleton barged in the room. Young Kiroshima. Are you all right? The man said while catching his breath. I'm okay, all Miyagi-san. Yagi turned to look at Izuku and Uraraka and bowed his head. Thank you for helping my boy here. It's no problem. Uraraka said. Izuku just stared at the man. So this is All Might's true form, huh? He looked back at Kiroshima who was smiling at Yagi. One for All found a new successor. How did you know it was us who helped him? Were you watching when it happened? Izuku smiled as he asked the skeleton man. Oh, just happened to hear you outside. Is that so? But to me it looked like you just got here from running. When you barged inside, you were still catching your breath. It doesn't seem like you stopped outside to listen. And looking at the time frame, you wouldn't have been able to hear that part of the conversation. So why did you lie about that? Izuku continued to smile at him. There was silence. Both Yagi and Kiroshima looked nervous. Uraraka was confused with what he was going on about. I'm just kidding. Geez, there was no need to be tense. Well, it was nice meeting you, Yagi-sen. I shall take my leave, Izuku said as he waved goodbye and exited the room. Izuku took the time to research on Kiroshima Ijiro. Being the successor of One for All, he would be useful to keep around. But most importantly, he's someone he needs to protect. Class 1. Geez, this place is too big. There it is. Izuku was standing in front of a huge door with the label 1A on it. After shutting the door behind him, Izuku immediately opened the letter. I am here as a projection. All Might. I am here to say that you have passed your written exam with flying colors. For the practical exam, you have done an astonishing job. You have scored a total of 30 villain points. But that's not all. We also considered rescue points. A panel of judges watches and they award points to heroic acts beyond just fighting villains. Midoriya Izuku's 60 rescue points. So Izuku's suspicions were correct. You passed the exam. Come, young Midoriya. This is your hero academia. There he was, about to enter the classroom. He was starting to have second thoughts. Does he really deserve to be here? He feels like he doesn't belong here. Izuku shook his head. He's not about to back down now. He pushed his thoughts to the back of his mind as he opens the huge classroom door. Don't put your feet on the desk. It was the glasses guy. Ha! Kaken getting scolded is such a funny scene to Izuku. It's the first day and you're already disrespecting this academy by stepping on school property. Don't care. What junior high did you go to, you extra? I attended semi-private academy. My name is Ida Tenya. Semi? So you're a DMNLTA? Looks like I'll have fun crushing you. Crushing? That's cruel. Do you truly aim to be a hero? Ida gasped. Suddenly Kaken and Ida noticed Izuku who was still standing in the doorway watching their interaction. Deku! All of the class attention was on him. Izuku felt a little uncomfortable. Hi! Ida started marching towards him. Good morning. I am from semi-private academy. My name is... Oh, I heard. I'm Midoriya Izuku. Nice to meet you, Ida. Midoriya, you realize there was something more to the practical exam, didn't you? You must be very perceptive, and I completely misjudged you. Not to forget I talked to you in a rude manner. I hate to admit it, but as a student you are far superior to me. Why is this guy so dramatic? I did but... Midoriya? It's me. Uraraka, a voice from behind spoke. Oh, Uraraka. Good morning. Izuku greeted before turning his attention back to Ida. Ida, you don't have to downplay yourself. You may have been a little rude to me during the entrance exam, But I understand that you just want things to be orderly. You were just being earnest, right? Izuku held both of Ida's hands. I'm sorry about my faults, and I forgive you too. Let's put the past behind us and let's be friends, okay? Izuku's smile shined as bright as the sun. Midoriya, you are too kind. Izuku could feel Kaken glaring daggers at him. Oh. What's up, Midoriya? Kiroshima stood up from his seat and walked towards him. Oh, hi, Kiri dash. Suddenly, Izuku's head snapped towards the direction of the door to where he had felt a presence. On the floor, he saw a large yellow caterpillar. If you're just here to make friends, then you can pack up your stuff now. They all gaped in shock. This is the hero course, the man said as he sipped on a juice pack. He stood up and started to unzip his yellow cocoon. It took you 8 seconds to shut up. That's not going to work. Time is limited. You kids are not rational enough. At least Midoriya here was able to notice my presence and shut up immediately. Izuku finally recognized the man. I'm your homeroom teacher, Aizawa. Shoyuta. Nice to meet you. Change into your gym uniforms in the locker rooms and head outside. A quirk assessment test? What about the entrance ceremony? The orientation? Uraraka voiced her concern. If you're going to become a hero, you can't waste time on pointless ceremonies, Aizawa-sensei said. UA's selling point is how unrestricted its school traditions are. That's also how the teachers run their classes. Everyone became nervous at that statement. You've been taking standardized tests all your lives, but you never got to use your quirks in physical fitness tests before. The country is still trying to pretend we're all created equal by not letting those with the most power excel. It's not rational. One day, the Ministry of Education will learn. Bakugu, you finished second in the practical exam, right? In junior high, what was your best result for the softball throw? 67 meters. Kaken answered after clicking his tongue at the mention of him taking second place. Then, try doing it with your quirk, he said, handing the ball to Kaken. Kaken stepped up front inside a circle drawn on the ground. Anything goes as long as you stay in the circle. Hurry up. Give it all you've got. Well then, Kaken readied his stance. Die! He exclaimed as he threw the ball with an explosion. All of you need to know your maximum capabilities. It's the most rational way to figuring out your potential as a pro hero, Aizawa-sensei said while showing Kaken's score on his device. Everyone was shocked with such a big number. Kaken's strength is truly amazing. 705.2 meters. Are you kidding me? What's this? It looks fun. We can use our quirks as much as we want. As expected from the hero course. It looks fun, huh? Aizawa-sensei said. You have 3 years to become a hero. Will you have an attitude like that the whole time? All right. Whoever comes in last place in all 8 tests will be judged to have no potential and will be punished with expulsion. Huh? Everyone got tensed. It doesn't look like Aizawa-sensei is lying. We're free to do what we want about the circumstances of our students. Welcome to UA's hero course. A huge test on the first day of school? This should be fun. Last place will be expelled? But it's the first day of school. No, even if it wasn't the first day of school, this is too unfair. Uraraka exclaimed. And you think natural disasters are? Power-hungry villains? Catastrophic accidents that wipe up whole cities? The world is full of unfairness. It is the hero's job to combat that unfairness. If you want to be a pro, you're gonna have to push yourself to the brink. For the next 3 years, UA will do all it can to give you one hardship after another. So go beyond. Plus ultra. Overcome it with all you've got. Aizawa-sensei is right. Izuku knows that unfairness all too well, and he did all he could do to survive, even if it were by selfish means. All right, demonstration is over. The real thing starts now. With the 50-meter dash, grip strength, standing long jump and repeated side steps tests, Izuku was doing pretty well. He had years' worth of endless training and 5 years of experience in the field, so he scored higher than an average person. Of course, there is only so much you could do in these tests without using a quirk. His quirk doesn't exactly work for physical tests like these. He could sense All Might watching them around the corner. Izuku pretended not to notice. Izuku was watching Kiroshima's turn for the ball throw. Is he going to use one for all? Will he break his bones again? Kiroshima threw the ball and was surprised that there wasn't much strength in his throw. What? I was definitely trying to use it just now. Kiroshima was confused. I erased your quirk. That entrance exam was definitely not rational enough. Even a kid like you was accepted. Aizawa's eyes turned red while his hair and scarf were floating. Izuku couldn't resist the urge to fanboy. Oh my god. You're the erasure hero, Eraserhead. You can erase other people's quirks with your quirk just by looking at them. Izuku exclaimed. He is an underground hero that Izuku admires. Someone whose quirk isn't flashy but so useful in combat. He is someone who saves people and doesn't do it for attention. From what I can tell, you don't have good control with your quirk. You used too much of your quirk in the practical exam and broke your bones. Do you intend to be incapacitated again and have someone save you? If that's not my intention, Kiroshima was suddenly binded with Aizawa-sensei's scarf, pulling him close to him. No matter what your intentions are, you'll be nothing more than a liability in battle. You have the same reckless passion as another overzealous hero I know. One who saved over 1,000 people by himself and became a legend. But even with that drive, you're worthless if you can only throw a few punches before breaking down. Kiroshima Ijiro. With your power, you can't become a hero. Geez, that was harsh. Aizawa-sensei blinked and his hair and scarf stopped floating. I've returned your quirk. You have another turn for the ball throw. Hurry up and get over with it. Kiroshima looked hurt. He stepped back in the circle. He threw the ball again, this time only using his original quirk, hardening. It's a shame. Izuku really wanted to see one for all in action again. Guess he'll have to wait for next time, and looks like he'll have to help out Kiroshima after all. It was Izuku's turn for the ball throw now. There was nothing much he could do, so he just threw the ball as hard as he can. He received a pretty decent score. Deku, tell me how the F are you here when you don't even have a quirk? Kaken launched himself towards Izuku but was stopped by strips of cloth wrapping around him. What these cloths are hard. They're weapons for capture made of carbon fiber woven together with metal wire made of a special alloy. Don't keep making me use my quirk over and over. I have dry eye. That's really unfortunate for someone with a quirk like that. We're wasting time. Whoever's next, get ready. Izuku looked right into Kaken's eyes. Stop saying I'm quirkless, Kaken. I do have a quirk, but it's not something I could use right now, Izuku said in a lower tone as he walked away from Kaken. It's really annoying that Kaken won't get it the first time. After finishing the rest of the tests, they finally finished the physical fitness tests. Okay, I'll quickly tell you the results. I've ranked you all from best to worst. You should probably already have a good idea of your standing. I'll just pull up the whole list. It's not worth it going over each individual score. Looking at the board, Izuku placed 5th. And the one who placed last was the Grape Kid, Mineta Minor. Knew it. I'll never be able to build my harem. I'll never get to do it with any of the girls. Please don't expel me. Mineta whined. Everyone just stared at Mineta with shock and disgust. That guy is such a degenerate. Izuku definitely noticed the way he was looking at the girls with such lewd eyes throughout the tests. Someone like him shouldn't be in the hero course. If Izuku could, he would kill him right then and there. Sigh. I was lying about the expulsion. It was a logical ruse to make sure you gave it your all in the tests, Aizawa-sensei said, as if disappointed. Everyone was surprised, including Izuku. Of course that was a lie. It should have been obvious if you just thought through it, a girl with a black ponytail spoke. Yayoro Zumomo. With that, we're done here. There are handouts with the curriculum and such in the classroom. Aizawa-sensei took a long look at Mineta, who still had tears in his eyes before walking away. Izuku doesn't think it was a complete lie. Was it because it was Mineta? Of course, he could be completely wrong and was just fooled by Aizawa-sensei, but he couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to it. While everyone was leaving the campus, Izuku reached out to Kiroshima. Hey Kiroshima, are you okay? Oh hi Midoriya. Don't worry, I'm fine. He gave him a thumbs up. Sensei has a point. I'm just gonna have to work harder to become stronger. Are you sure you're okay? Aizawa-sensei has said some pretty harsh things to you. You're so manly for being concerned for me, Midoriya, but I am completely okay. His words won't shake me, but drive me to do better. That is really admirable of you, Kiroshima, Ida exclaimed from behind. Oh, Ida! Izuku greeted. I was really taken in by Aizawa-sensei. I even thought, this is the best of the best, and such. I didn't think a teacher would encourage us with a lie. Oh, I haven't introduced myself to you, Ida. I'm Kiroshima Ijiro. Nice to meet you, Kiroshima. I am Ida Tenya. Hey! Uraraka called out to them. You guys, going to the station? Wait for me. You're the Infinity Girl. Ida said. I'm Uraraka Ochako. Ida Tenya, right? Midoriya, why did Bakugo call you Deku? Oh, it's just what Kaken calls me to make fun of me. An insult. That's so not manly of Bakugo. Oh, is that right? Sorry, but Deku sounds like the Japanese word for you can do it, so I kinda like it. You can call me Deku if you like, Izuku offered. Midoriya, wasn't that an insult? Ida exclaimed. You said you like it, so you can use it, if you want to, of course. Izuku hid his face in his scarf. Alright, Deku-kun. Izuku survived the first day of school, making friends along the way. He hopes that he doesn't disappoint them or hate him for what he will have to do. But for now, he'll focus on having fun and enjoying this normalcy. The first half of the second day of school was pretty normal. They had heroes teach math, English, and other subjects. Izuku was already good at most of them. The tutors from the HPSC taught him advanced stuff than what most kids his age were taught. Class 1A was waiting for their next teacher to arrive when the door finally opened. I am coming through the door like a normal person. All Might walked in the classroom energetically. Most of the class gasped in shock and cheered with joy. Oh my god, it's All Might. And he's in his Silver Age costume too. Izuku gasped. He would love to have his autograph right now. Welcome to the most important class in UA Hero Basic Training. Think of it as Heroing 101. Here you will be taught the basics of being a pro. Let's get right into it. Today's lesson: battle trials. Izuku was excited. And to go with that are these. All Might points to the wall on the left side of the classroom as it opens to reveal compartments. Costumes based on your quirk registrations and requests you sent in before the school started. Everyone cheered in excitement. After you change, gather in ground beta. Yes, sir. Everyone walked towards the entrance of ground beta. Izuku observed each and one of them. Some of them looked pretty cool in Izuku's opinion, while some costumes were questionable. Hey, Deku-kun. Uraraka called out to him, distracting him from his train of thought. Oh, hi, Uraraka. You look so cool. Uraraka said while looking at his costume from head to toe. Izuku wasn't really wearing anything special. Thanks. You look pretty cool too, Uraraka. I should have written what I wanted. Mine end up being a skin-tight bodysuit. It's embarrassing, Uraraka flushed. Izuku noticed Mineta looking at Uraraka lewdly from the side. He shot him a glare, causing Mineta to avert his eyes somewhere else. Now, shall we begin, you zygotes? It's time for battle trials. Sir. It was Ida who spoke in his suit armor. This is a battle center from the entrance exam, so will we be conducting urban battles again? Not quite, we're going to move ahead 2 steps. A lot of the villain fights you see in the news take place outside. But statistically speaking, atrocious villains appear indoors at a higher rate: backroom deals, home invasions, secret underground lairs. True intelligent villains hide in the shadows. For this class, you'll be split into villains and heroes to fight 2-on-2 indoor battles. Without basic training? A girl wearing green asked. Ajuitiu. This is a real battle to understand those basics. Izuku thought that might be a bad idea. Even the HPSC taught him the basics first before throwing him into a life or death battle training. However, the key this time is that there's no robot you can just beat up. All Might continued. How will wins and loses be determined? Can we beat them up anyway? Will the punishment be expulsion like with Aizawa-sensei? How shall we be split up? The class was bombarding All Might with questions. I'll answer all of your questions. Now listen up. All Might pulled out a small notebook. The situation is that the villains have hidden a nuclear weapon somewhere in their hideout. The heroes are trying to dispose of that. The heroes need to catch the villains or get the nuclear weapon back in the allotted time, while the villains need to protect the nuclear weapon for the whole time or catch the heroes. Teams and opponents will be determined. Withdrawing lots. They're being decided haphazardly? Ida exclaimed. Pros often have to team up with heroes from other agencies on the spot, so we need to learn to be flexible with who we get to be teamed up with, Izuku explained. The discernment to look ahead. Please excuse my rudeness. Ida bowed to All Might. No sweat. Let's go. Everyone took turns to draw lots. Izuku looked at his paper with the words written, team, on it. Ah, guess we aren't partners, Deku-kun. Uraraka said while holding up her paper that showed Team C. Guess so. We better find our partners, Izuku said as they parted ways. Izuku looked at the whole class and saw a girl wearing a revealing hero costume holding up a paper that says Team A. He quickly approached her. Yaoyorozu. I'm Team A too. Glad to have you. Izuku exclaimed. Likewise, Yaoyorozu said. The first teams to fight will be these guys. All Might held up the ball with the markings and E. Team D will be the heroes and Team A will be the villains. Everyone else head to the monitor room. Yes, sir. Izuku looked around to see who Team D were. He could feel Kaken glaring to his left. Good luck to us. Kiroshima cheered beside Kaken. They must be Team D. Izuku just smiled at them, making Kaken glare at him even more. Villain team, go in first and set up. In 5 minutes, the hero team will break in, and the battle will start. Yes, sir. Young Midoriya, young Yaoyorozu, learn to think from the perspective of the villains. This is pretty close to a real battle. Go all out. Don't be afraid to get hurt. If things go too far, I will stop the battle. Yes, sir. Thank you for the advice, Izuku added with a sweet smile. Izuku and Yaoyorozu got to the top 5th floor where the weapon is being held. So it's paper mecha, Izuku said as he touched the weapon that reached the tall ceiling. Let's tell each other's quirks so we could think of a plan. Right. My quirk is called creation. It lets me to create any non-living object from my skin as long as I know its molecular structure. Yaoyorozu explained. That's an amazing quirk, Yaoyorozu. Izuku exclaimed. My quirk is called Ghost. Basically, it lets me turn invisible, but once I make an action that could make my target notice me, like calling out to them or touching them, then I'll be visible again. That is a very interesting quirk, Midoriya. If we were in the heroes team, we could have finished this battle quickly with your quirk. You're right. But right now we are villains. We need to decide who will guard the bomb. What combat experience do you have? Yaoyorozu used her quirk to create a bow staff from her arm. She quickly spins it and does a fighting stance. I am quite skilled at using this weapon. Nice. Izuku grinned as pulls out his special black gloves from his pocket and puts them on. This is my support item. These gloves can shoot wires that I can control, just like Aizawa-sensei's capture weapon on his neck. Izuku flicked his arm to shoot out the claws with wires, then retracting them like a yo-yo. I think you should guard the bomb, Yaoyorozu. You can set up a glue trap in the rooms too. I'll go hold back our opponents. The heroes we're fighting are Bakugo and Kiroshima. Bakugo can make explosions from his palm and Kiroshima can harden his body and can pull insanely strong punches like with what he did with Zero Pointer in the entrance exam. Their quirks go well together. I see. Our opponents are strong offense fighters. Will you be able to handle them? Don't worry, I'm faster than I look. I'll pull a surprise attack on them. I can easily wrap them around my wires and the capture tape All Might gave us without them noticing. If I'm not able to hold them back, I'll trust that you can distract them with your glue trap long enough for me to get back and support you. Izuku and Yaoyorozu plan a bit more until they were satisfied. Now, let's start the indoor combat training with Team A and Team D. You have 15 minutes. Start. All Might said through the intercoms. All right, good luck. Yaoyorozu gave him a determined look. Let's do our best. Izuku returned a smile as he walked out of the room and disappeared. Izuku quickly made his way through the halls to the second floor. He already memorized the layout of the building with the map All Might had given them. He doesn't plan on quickly ending this battle. He'll hold back and gauge the skills of his opponents. He stopped on his tracks as he heard footsteps. Izuku peeked around the corner and saw Kaken marching ahead of Kiroshima. Kaken looked sad. "Bakubro, wait up. We're a team, remember?" Kiroshima called to Kaken. "Leave me alone, you extra." Izuku silently moved in between the two heroes, shooting his wires from each hand to wrap around them. He pulled as hard as he can to knock the two of them together. Both of them were surprised at his sudden appearance. Kiroshima hardened his body as a reflex while Kaken cursed at him. "F Deku!" Kaken exclaimed. This battle would have ended right then and there, but Izuku made sure that the wires were loose enough for at least one of them to break free. Kiroshima deactivated his quirk to make himself a tiny bit smaller while Kaken launched himself with explosions, wires still wrapped around him. Izuku easily dodged and disappeared, making the wires disappear as well. He let Kiroshima and Kaken gather themselves before reappearing in front of them in a fighting stance. "I'm engaging with the both of them right now," Izuku said to his earpiece. "Be careful," Yaoyorozu replied. "Surprise attacks are so not manly, dude," Kiroshima said with a grin. "Well, a surprise attack is a strategy, Kiroshima," Izuku argued. "I'm gonna have to kill you, Deku." Kaken launched himself again at Izuku, with his right fist aiming to punch him with an explosion. Instead of dodging, Izuku surprised him by grabbing his arm and flipping him over, knocking Kaken to the ground. Kiroshima tried punching him from behind with his hardened fist. Izuku dodged and maneuvered his way behind Kiroshima. He wrapped one of his legs with his wires and pulled, knocking him off balance. Kiroshima fell right on top of Kaken, who was still trying to get up. "I can read you like a book, Kaken. You usually start with a big right swing. And Kiroshima, you're not as mobile when you're using that quirk, huh?" Izuku didn't wait for them to get up. He threw his claws at them, knowing full well that Kiroshima would block them with his hardening quirk. Izuku pretended to look slightly disappointed at the attack. That gave Kaken the chance to finally get up. "Hey, shitty hair. Why don't you FNG go ahead while I beat the shit out of this FNG nerd?" Kiroshima tried to argue but held back. He immediately dashed out of the hallway. Izuku tried to reach him with his wires, but Kiroshima already turned the corner, his claws anchoring on the wall instead. "Darn," Izuku pouted as he spoke to his earpiece. "Sorry, Yaoyorozu. I let Kiroshima get away." "Don't worry. I'll be ready for him," Yaoyorozu reassured. "Don't you effing turn your focus away from me, shitty Deku." Kaken growled at him. He grabbed the wires Izuku used to reach for Kiroshima and pulled him towards him. Izuku uses his quirk to disappear, making the wires Kaken was pulling disappear from his clutch as well. He reappeared behind him, making Kaken even more angry. "Stop dodging and fight me, Deku." He needs to get to Kiroshima immediately, so he'll have to finish Kaken off quickly. Kaken launched himself at Izuku, aiming to kick his head. Izuku took out the capture tape and wrapped it around Kaken's leg. He doesn't have as much control with it, unlike with his wires, but it will do. Kaken tried to punch him again with his right fist, but Izuku just dodged out of the way. He used his quirk to disappear, using Kaken's explosion as a smokescreen. While Kaken was looking around for him, Izuku quickly circled around him. And with one pull, Kaken's whole body was tied up by the capture tape. He kicked Kaken to the floor and stomped one foot on him to keep him from moving. "Young Bakugo has been captured and out of commission," All Might said through the intercoms. "F Deku, this ain't over yet." "Sorry, Kaken, but I need to go fetch Kiroshima if you don't mind," Izuku said to Kaken, who was still trying to wiggle himself free from the capture tape on the floor. "See you, Kaken," Izuku said while waving at him with a smile on his face. "God damn it." Those were the last words he heard from Kaken as he turned around the corner and disappeared. "Midoriya, I've come in contact with Kiroshima. Our trap didn't hold him for too long and now I'm trying to hold him back," Yaoyorozu reported on the earpiece. "I'll be there in a few seconds," Izuku said as he dashes through the hallways to the top floor. Once he reached the room where the weapon is being held, he can see Kiroshima and Yaoyorozu fighting. Guess the glue trap Yaoyorozu made with her quirk wasn't enough to hold Kiroshima for too long, and now she's trying to defend the weapon. She creates a grenade and throws it at Kiroshima. That only distracted Kiroshima for a second. She then creates a stun gun, but the electricity had no effect on him. Izuku decided it was time to step in. He shot his wires at Kiroshima, successfully wrapping them around his limbs and his body, making Kiroshima unable to move. Izuku wrapped his end of the wires around a pillar to keep Kiroshima from pulling him. Yaoyorozu, the capture tape. She nodded and quickly began to wrap Kiroshima, who was still struggling from Izuku's wires. Young Kiroshima has been captured and out of commission. Villain team wins. All Might said through the intercoms. Please head back to the monitor room to review the results. Wow, you guys were awesome back there. Yeah. Midoriya's weapon was so cool. He looked like a martial arts pro. Izuku flushed at their comments. He wasn't used to getting a lot happy praises. Now, who do you think the MVP of this battle is? All Might asked the class. It's Midoriya, right? Azui asked. Correct. With his martial arts skill and his precise control of his weapon, he was able to defeat young Bakugo and young Kiroshima 2-on-1. He was able to quickly capture young Bakugo and return to his teammate to support them. All Might praised. Izuku felt like he could die happy. He got a praise from the All Might. Although young Bakugo was uncooperative with his team, he made the right decision to let young Kiroshima go ahead to get the weapon. Young Yaoyorozu did a good job with her traps as well. Although it did not hold young Kiroshima for that long, she was able to hold him off long enough to get the support of her teammate. Young Kiroshima also did a good job fighting young Yaoyorozu until the end. So good job everyone. Let us reflect on what we have learned and improve ourselves. Yes, sir. Alright everyone, let's change locations and start the second match. All Might announced. Dang Midoriya, where did you learn those moves? And your wires too? Kiroshima asked. Just had a lot of practice. You guys were amazing too. Izuku rubbed the back of his neck. Sorry Yaoyorozu. I let Kiroshima get to you. I wasn't able to capture him sooner. It's fine Midoriya. I do not know exactly how it went, but I believe you did your best given the circumstances, Yaoyorozu said. Thank you. Izuku didn't do his best though. If he really wanted to eliminate Kaken and Kiroshima, the fight would have ended before they could blink. Izuku ignored Kaken's deadly glare as he took out his notebook and pen, ready to analyze the upcoming matches. Katsuki grew up with everyone around him saying he's amazing. Extras praised him for his quirk, and that only fueled his pride. But just now, Katsuki lost to Deku. FNG useless quirkless Deku beat him. He hated that FNG smile Deku had while he was fighting him and shitty hair. And not only that, he can tell Deku was holding back the entire time. Katsuki can see Deku waiting for him to get up. That stupid nerd even predicted what move he was going to make. It really pisses him off. Since when did Deku get a quirk? Katsuki clearly remembered the time when it was announced that Deku was quirkless. Had he been hiding it this whole time? All while looking down on him? He may try to deny it, but Katsuki knows Deku helped him with the sludge villain months back. He was suffocating and close to passing out when Deku did something to loosen the sludge villain's hold on him. Maybe if All Might didn't intervene, he would have been able to beat the villain. That was also the first time he saw him in years after disappearing. Their family just suddenly moved away. He asked his mom once if Deku and Auntie Inko moved houses or something. His mom just said that Auntie was too busy at work to contact her. There's something unnerving about Deku. His smiles don't feel genuine and his eyes look so lifeless and empty, completely different from the Deku he used to know when they were. Katsuki was about to walk out of the school gate when he heard someone call out to him. Kaken! Katsuki didn't stop walking. Kaken! He stopped on his tracks and slowly turned around. What? He said with a glare. Are you okay, Kaken? You looked like you were in a bad mood and you just suddenly left class without saying goodbye and... I just wanted to see if you're okay, Deku said, looking at him as if he needed help. What the f are you trying to say, Deku? You already made fool out of me of that DMN training exercise. So, Did you come here to rub it in? I lost. And to make matters worse, it was you who I lost to. I didn't even beat you in the entrance exam. I came in FNG second place. Just you did. Dimin it. Katsuki could feel himself tearing up. He quickly blinked the tears away. You tricked me, didn't you? All this time you had a quirk. Was it fun looking down on me this whole time? Kaken, I'm not. Katsuki closed the distance between them and held Deku's collar. Then tell me the truth. They stared into each other. Katsuki can see Deku observing him. Kaken, I'm genuinely concerned about you. I'm not looking down at you at all. You think I didn't notice? Katsuki gritted his teeth. You were holding back the entire FNG time. You easily dodged my attacks and I saw you waiting for me to get up. You said it yourself, you read me like a demon book. You beat me easily with that stupid wire of yours and that quirk. Deku stayed silent for a few seconds. Are you not gonna say anything? Katsuki glared. Sigh. Of course you'd notice it, Kaken. I'd be a fool to think that you won't. Katsuki shivered as he felt his fingers pass through the collar he was gripping as Deku took a step back. Let me tell you a truth. You deserve that much. A truth? Not the truth. Yes, a truth. I can't tell you everything yet, Kaken. I'm still trying to sort things out, but I promise the truth will come out soon. So for now, let me answer one of your curiosities. Deku took a deep breath and opened his mouth. I didn't know I had a quirk until I was about 5.5. I discovered it through a tragedy. What? That was not what Katsuki was expecting. What happened? It was something bad. I don't want to talk about it. Katsuki noticed Deku fidgeting with his hands. Just know that I hate everything about that incident. But I tried to look at the bright side of things, you know? I finally had a quirk. I can finally be a hero. What happened in that incident? Then because of Mom's work, we had to move houses, Deku continued. Then Mom got someone she knew to start training me. But know that I don't look down at you, Kaken. It's the opposite actually. I admire that you face things head-on. I'm embarrassed to admit it, but you were a source of inspiration when I was going through rough times. He smiled cheekily. You're amazing, Kaken. I know you'll be a great hero someday. Deku smiled at him, though his eyes had a hint of pain. Katsuki glared at his sappiness. I'll be #1 hero, you hear me? Don't ever think you're better than me now that you have that lame quirk. Katsuki turned around and started to walk away. I found you. Bakugu. All of a sudden, All Might was now holding Katsuki's shoulders from behind him. Just so you know, pride is an important attribute to have. But while you certainly have the ability to be a pro hero, there's still a lot you have to dash. Let go of me, All Might. I can't walk. Katsuki turned his head to glare at All Might. I'll become a hero that surpasses even you without you telling me. Right, All Might lets go of him. Katsuki finally leaves the school, not before hearing Deku ask for All Might's autograph. Ijiro was worried about Bakubro when he suddenly left the class without saying goodbye. He tried to run after him, but Midoriya said he'll talk to him. A few minutes later, Midoriya came back. How's Bakubro? He'll be fine. Kaken's strong, Midoriya reassured him. That's good. By the way, Kiroshima, can we talk? In private. Sure. Ida, Uraraka, you guys can go on ahead to the train station without us. Be careful on your way home later then. Ida said while chopping the air. See you tomorrow, Deku. Kiroshima. Bye guys. Ijiro waved goodbye as Midoriya ushered to follow him. So what did you want to talk about? Ijiro asked Midoriya. They were inside one of the unused classrooms. Kiroshima, you have 2 quirks, don't you? Ijiro was not ready for that question. Does he know about One for All? How did Midoriya find out? How is he going to avoid this topic? It won't be manly to lie to Midoriya. His train of thought was broken when he heard Midoriya chuckle. Ijiro must have looked like a deer on headlights. You're probably panicking inside your head right now. Don't worry, you don't have to tell me anything you don't want to. I just want you to hear me out. Midoriya gave him a reassuring smile. You're probably wondering how I figured it out, right? Well, I'm really good at analyzing quirks, you see. After observing you closely since the entrance exams and looking at the evidence, I've come to the conclusion that you have two separate quirks. Evidence 1: you've shown different abilities. Your hardening quirk is a transformation type that lets you harden your body like a jagged rock. For your other quirk, I've only seen it once during the entrance exam, but it looked like a strength enhancement quirk. You also emit red lighting around your body when using it. Of course, a quirk can have multiple abilities, and that leads us to evidence 2: your lack of control. Using your hardening quirk feels like second nature to you because you've had that quirk since you were about, but for your strength enhancement quirk, you lack control. When you used that quirk against the 0-pointer in the entrance exams, you broke almost every bone in your limbs. Almost as if your body wasn't used to that quirk, because you hadn't had it for too long. Of course, before the entrance exam, you could have undergone a quirk awakening. Although it is extremely rare, it still could happen. During an awakening, the quirk evolves. It usually makes your quirk a lot stronger, or gives you new aspects that is still similar to your original quirk. But that is not the case for you. If your quirk really just evolved, your hardening should be active the same time you have strength enhancement active. And that leads us to evidence 3: the way you act and use your quirk in. During the ball throw in the quirk assessment test, you were going to use your strength enhancement quirk. How can I tell? You didn't activate your hardening quirk before throwing the ball. Then Aizawa-sensei erased your quirks and scolded you. You were pretty affected by his talk about being a liability. And so on your second try, you used your hardening quirk instead. You hardened your arm then threw the ball. For the battle trials, I had hoped to see you use your strength enhancement quirk again, but you didn't. You're scared, aren't you? Afraid you'll break your bones again and become a liability. Ijiro's breath hitched. Now the question is, how did you get that quirk? Where did you get that quirk? From who did you get that quirk? Ijiro was frozen. He was amazed and terrified with how accurate Midoriya was. Again, you don't have to tell me anything you don't want to. But don't insult my intelligence by feigning ignorance after I gave you evidence. Ijiro's was conflicted, but thought that it wasn't manly to lie. You're right. I do have two quirks. My other quirk is something I received from someone else. I can't say who I got it from though. But it sounds crazy, you know? It's like something out of a comic books, only it's real. The thing is, I still can't control it properly. It's just a borrowed power that I haven't made my own yet, that's why I couldn't use it during the battle trials. I've still got a lot to learn. That's why I will work hard to make this quirk my own, and become a great manly hero. Ijiro said as he put his right fist on his chest. Midoriya was surprised at his response, then softly smiled. I'm glad you decided to tell the truth. I won't tell anyone about this. But in return, let me help you. You're having trouble with your quirk, right? I believe I can help you with that. Trust me, I've helped others with their quirks before, and I think I know what to do with yours. I'll think about it. Thanks for the offer, Midoriya. So how are you, young Kiroshima? I've been watching you during the battle trials, and you haven't used one for all yet. My boy, are you having trouble with the quirk? Ijiro and All Might in his skeletal form were hanging around at the Dagoba beach. I guess I'm still having trouble. The first and last time I used one for all in the entrance exams, my bones broke. That is okay, young Kiroshima. A new quirk takes time getting used to. I'm sure one day you will be able to master one for all. Thanks, All Might. I hope so too. I'll make sure you won't regret choosing me as your successor. I won't ever regret it, my boy. You are very kind and hardworking, and most of All Might poofed back into his muscular form with his iconic smile. You have the drive to save people. I know you'll make a great hero. Ijiro smiled and reminisced about the fateful day he met All Might almost a year ago. At the time, he didn't know he was All Might. A month after becoming close with the man, he revealed himself to be All Might. That almost gave Ijiro a heart attack. He asked him to be his successor, and he happily accepted. And so for the past few months, All Might trained him to be a vessel for One for All. Ijiro thought it was very manly of All Might to think of cleaning the Dagoba beach as part of his training. By the way, All Might, I have something to tell you. What is it, my boy? Ijiro took a deep breath. Midoriya knows I have 2 quirks. He what? How did he know? Does he know about One for All? Did you tell him? Calm down, All Might. The secret about One for All is safe. Midoriya was just really observant and really good at analyzing quirks. He talked to me earlier about his hypothesis. It was so well thought out. I couldn't lie to him because it's unmanly, so I confirmed his suspicions. I see. Midoriya truly is observant. I saw him writing detailed notes on the battle trials earlier, and I also remember that one time after the entrance exams. Yeah, I got nervous that time too. But don't worry, All Might. Midoriya promised to not tell anyone about my secret. He even offered to help me with my quirk. Help? Yeah. He said he had experience helping other people with their quirks. I said I'll think about accepting his offer, but I want your permission first. Well, I believe young Midoriya is a good kid. If you think he can help you, then go ahead. Kiroshima grinned. Thanks, All Might. After accepting Midoriya's offer to help him with One for All, Ijiro is now with Midoriya in one of the gymnasiums in UA after school the next day. So, what's the plan, Midoriya? From what I can tell, you can't control your strength enhancement quirk, correct? Ijiro nodded. It's either 0 or 100. So what I want you to do is to close your eyes and remember the time at the entrance exam when you summoned your quirk. Ijiro closed his eyes and focused. When you summoned that quirk, what image came to mind? What do you picture when you activated your quirk? What does it feel like? It's like, I don't know. Ijiro opened his eyes to look at Midoriya. I think I should explain first. Usually when we develop our quirks, we already have a feel for how to activate or use it. It feels second nature. But for your case, you got a new quirk that's not yours. Ijiro flinched. So it doesn't come as naturally to you. You're probably thinking of the quirk as a switch to turn on and off. That's why the first time you used your quirk, you immediately went to 100%. So I want you to think of another visual metaphor for it. That way, you can visualize controlling the amount of strength you put into it until it eventually becomes natural to you. I think I'm starting to understand. Good. Now close your eyes. Try activating your quirk. But what if I break my bones again? You'll be fine, Kiroshima. Trust me, okay? Midoriya reassured him. Ijiro took a deep breath and closed his eyes. Okay. He slowly activated One for All. What do you see? What does using that quirk feel like? It's like holding this huge hot ball of energy, and it's growing too big. How big? As big as the classroom. Actually, no, it's a little bigger than that, and it's getting hard to contain. Ijiro's face slightly scrunched at the weird sensation. Kiroshima, visualize holding only a sliver of that energy. Something as big as a tennis ball. He tried focusing and eventually visualized it. Good. Now try to distribute that small amount of energy throughout your body to your arms, legs, feet, etc. He tried to visualize it. He could feel the energy slowly spread throughout his body. Now, unlike the first time, Ijiro didn't feel overwhelmed using One for All. I think you got it, Kiroshima. You can open your eyes. Ijiro did and saw Midoriya smiling at him proudly. He looked at himself to see red sparks of electricity radiating off him. I did it. Try moving while maintaining that distribution of energy. Ijiro tried walking a few steps, careful to not lose concentration. Good. You're doing great. Try hitting that punching bag over there. He walked towards the punching bag, took a deep breath and punched, generating a gust of wind. He expected to feel his bones broken again, but they weren't. I did it. My bones didn't break. Good job, Kiroshima. Ijiro fist bumps Midoriya. Now we just need you to be able to use your hardening and strength enhancement at the same time. You ready? Heck yeah. Specter was back in the HPSC president's office, giving a report about All Might, Kiroshima and One for All. It is confirmed that All Might had chosen Kiroshima Ijiro as his successor. From what I could tell, they already know each other even before the UA entrance exams. All Might didn't teach Kiroshima about using One for All, which led to him breaking his bones the first time using it. He hadn't used one for all since then because of the trauma, so I took it upon myself to help him control his quirk, enough to keep him from constantly breaking his bones. Good. Although you didn't consult me about helping Kiroshima with one for all, I'll let it slide since it produced good results. Next time, Spectre, consult me first before making decisions like these. Do you understand? Yes, ma'am. Overall, it's a good report. You're dismissed. Spectre quietly left Cousin's office. Walking through the office area, he saw Halt hastily arranging a bunch of papers. Wow, you look like sheet, he teased Halt. God damn it. This is the third time this week that I had to deal with those annoying villains trying to snipe that flaming trash of a hero. Does all he ever do is make people hate him? Yeesh, they've been doing a lot of damage control recently because of Endeavor. And now I have to do all these paperwork just ugh. She groaned as she aggressively closed a filing cabinet. Why don't you help me out here, Spectre, instead of just hovering there? I got school. Whatever. I didn't need your help anyway. If you say so, I'll be going now. Have fun with paperwork. Spectre waved goodbye while sticking his tongue out at Halt. Hope you get hit by a truck or something. While walking home, Izuku received a text message from a certain villain. Hence, come to bar. Kiroshima will warp. Ghosty. Kamura, happy face. Izuku went to a dark alleyway and sent his coordinates to Kiroshima. After a few seconds, a portal appeared. He casually stepped in and saw only Tamura and Kiroshima present. What do you need me for, Tamura? Izuku asked Tamura, who was sitting at the bar. We're going to meet with Sensei to see the Nomu. Oh, you mean the thing the doctor was working on? Yes. Sensei is also going to give you your mission, Kiroshima informed. He created another portal and they all stepped through. They were teleported to a dimly lit room. Across them was All for One sitting on a chair, and beside him was this big hulking bird abomination with an exposed brain. Tamura and Izuku, it's nice to see you too, All for One greeted. I'd like to introduce you to the Nomu. I've packed it with a combination of powerful quirks that could rival All Might's strength. Izuku could see Tamura's eyes lit up. Sensei, how do I use it? The Nomu obeys any verbal command given by you and I. You didn't include me? Izuku asked, slightly pouting. It would have been nice if he too had some control over the beast. My apologies, Izuku. I am simply being cautious considering you are still with the Hero Commission. Darn, he muttered. Tamura, try testing the Nomu. Nomu, attack Izuku. Wait, what? Izuku barely had any time to dodge the attack sent to him by the Nomu. He immediately tried to increase the distance between them, but the Nomu launched itself towards Izuku. Before he could even process what happened, everything faded to black. Izuku woke up to the sound of his mother's crying. I'm sorry, Izuku. I'm sorry. He looked at the floor and saw himself, dead, empty eyes, blood gushing out from the wound on his throat. Lifeless. He looked at the bloodied knife on the floor. He reaches out to his mother. Mom. Izuku wakes up on the floor, hand reaching out. He sits up and rubs his neck. It wasn't a truck, but it's something. Izuku muttered. He looked around the room. Tamura, Kiroshima, All for One and the Nomu were there, watching him. Good, you're back, Tamura teased with an annoying grin on his annoying face. You motherfucker. Language, Izuku. All for One called out. Tamura used the Nomu to kill me. You can respawn anyway, so I can still feel the pain, beach. Izuku glared at Tamura, who seemed to find the whole thing amusing. Now boys. Let's not antagonize each other. We're here to talk about your mission. Izuku and Tamura turned their full attention to All for One. Kiroshima has recruited over 100 villains now, and with the Nomu finally complete, the rest is up to you, Izuku. What do you want me to do? Since All Might is now a teacher at UA, I want you to get a copy of your class timetable. With that, we can perfectly plan the exact time and place Tamura's group will attack. That's easy enough. Good. That would be all for now, All for One said. Kiroshima warped them back to the bar. The next day, Izuku was walking towards UA when he saw a bunch of reporters crowding around UA's front gate. Could you tell us more about All Might teaching at UA? What is the symbol of peace like in person? What do you think of All Might as a teacher? What are you learning? Please tell us more about All Might. Wait, hold on, aren't you that sludge villain kid? He hears the crowd ask more questions to his classmates who were trying to pass through the crowd. Nope. Izuku decided he won't dealing with any of this. He just floats past all of them, not being noticed. He could see a few reporters shiver a little. About All Might. He's not on duty today. You're disturbing the classes. Please leave, Aizawa-sensei said before walking away. Come in, just let us see All Might. A female reporter tried to enter the gate, but an alarm went up and a barrier blocked the entrance from the press. What the? It seems it's now out to the public that All Might is teaching at UA. The press probably won't stop gathering outside until they get a chance to interview All Might. That gave Izuku an idea. He pulled out his phone and texted Tamura. Ghosty, you awake? I got a favor to ask. Hence, no, still sleeping. Ghosty, it's for the mission. Pretty please? Hence, what is it? Ghosty, could you decay the UA barrier for me? If I'm gonna steal some information, it's best to make it look like an infiltration so that they don't suspect a traitor. Hence, fine WTVR. Ghosty, yay! I'll text you the time. Now let's get down to business. For this homeroom PRD, you will all pick a class representative, Aizawa-sensei announced. I want to be class rep. Pick me. Me too. I want to do it too. I'll be the leader. Let me do it. Me. Everyone kept shouting, wanting to claim the role. Izuku doesn't really want to be the class rep. He's already too busy to have extra responsibilities. Silence everyone, please. Ida commanded. The class representative's duty is to lead others. It's not something just anyone can do. You first must have the trust of every student in the classroom. Therefore, the most logical way to fill this position is democratically. We will hold an election to choose our leader. Is this really the best idea? We've only known each other for a few days. How can we have trust? Besides, everyone will just vote for themselves. Most people will, but that means whoever does receive multiple votes must truly be the most suitable person for the job. What do you think, Aizawa-sensei? Ida asked. Do what you want, as long as you decide before homeroom's over. Thank you very much. They finally tallied the votes and... Why did I get 4 votes? Izuku exclaimed. What the? Who the hell voted for Deku? Kaken ranted. So the class rep is Midoriya, and the deputy class rep is Yaoyorozu. Aizawa-sensei announced. Seriously? I believe you'd be a good class rep, Midoriya, Yaoyorozu said beside him. You've proven yourself to be a good leader during the battle trials. But still, I don't think I'm fit for this role. Don't be too hard on yourself, Mido bro, Kiroshima exclaimed. Yeah, you do great. Izuku really needs to think of a plan to resolve this. Izuku was sitting at the cafeteria with Ida and Uraraka. I'm really not qualified to be class rep. Of course you are, Deku-kun. You'll do great, Ida expressed. Your courage and quick thinking under stress makes you a worthy leader. That is why I voted for you. But didn't you want to be class rep too, Ida? Uraraka asked. Wanting a job and being suited for it are different things. My family's hero agency has taught me that much. Hero agency? My family has been heroes for generations. Your older brother is the turbo hero, Ingenium, right? Izuku exclaimed. That's amazing, Ida. He is an honorable hero, and I strive to being a hero just like my brother. However, I think it is still too soon for me to lead others. You, Midoriya, had already shown to be a good person and a suitable leader. I'm not a good person, Izuku whispered under his breath. Suddenly the alarms started going off. Warning level 3 security breach. All students please evacuate outdoors promptly. That's Izuku's cue. What's level 3 security breach? Ida inquired. It means someone managed to get past the school's barrier, Izuku explained. We should probably get going. Everyone was pushing and shoving in the panicking crowd. This was the perfect distraction for Izuku. He used his quirk and easily slipped through the crowd. Izuku arrived at the teacher's faculty. All the teachers left to deal with the trespassers. He searched through the faculty and found Aizawa-sensei's desk. He tried to reach for the neatly stacked folders, but his hand wouldn't respond him. He closed his eyes. Come on, Izuku. Doing this isn't betraying her. You're not betraying her. You're simply just taking a look. He breathed in and out and opened his eyes. He reached for the folders on Aizawa-sensei's desk. After carefully searching through the documents, he found the class timetable. He took out his phone and took a picture of it. He'll send it to Tamura later. He quickly rearranged everything back to how he found it and left the scene. For now, no one should suspect him. Making it look like a break-in by having Tamura destroy the UA barrier was a good distraction. Even if Nizu were to suspect that it's someone from the inside who was behind the break-in, he wouldn't have enough evidence to fully accuse Izuku or anyone. He went back to the crowded hallway and saw Ida standing above the emergency exit sign. Remain calm and prove we're the best of the best. The crowd started to calm down. That gave Izuku an idea. Come on, class rep, start. Yaoyorozu ushered beside him. Let us decide on the other class officers. But first, I have something I need to say. I believe Ida Tenya should be class rep. He was able to capture everyone's attention and de-escalated the situation calmly. Ida would make a great class rep, don't you guys think? Izuku smiled at the class. If Midobro vouches for him, then I'm good with that. Ida really was a big help at the cafeteria today. You're wasting time, Aizawa-sensei said. I don't care who the class rep is, just hurry up. If Midoriya has nominated me for this job, then I humbly accept. I pledge to carry out the duties of the class representative to the best of my abilities. We're counting on you, emergency exit. Do your best, emergency exit Ida. Izuku was finally free from being the class representative. That's one less thing to worry about. Izuku entered the bar through Kurogiri's portal. He sees Tamura and Himiko sitting on the couch, and Dabi drinking on the counter. Izuku. Himiko greeted, patting the space next to her. Izuku sat between Himiko and Tamura. Good, you're finally here, Tamura said. Missed me already? Izuku teased. Tamura just rolled his eyes, flicking Izuku's forehead. Ow, he pouted. Himiko giggled beside him. Anyway, I took a look at the timetable you sent me. We'll be attacking UA tomorrow at USJ. So soon? Dabi asked. All Might will be there, Tamura grinned. The NPCs we recruited will be a good distraction for the UA brats, and the Nomu will take care of All Might. I'm so excited. Himiko exclaimed. I'm gonna have to drink lots of blood for my disguise. Do you have any backup plans, Tamura? What if All Might doesn't come to USJ tomorrow or something else goes wrong? Izuku asked. Then we'll make him come. We have their precious students hostage after all. Class 1A was on a bus heading towards USJ for rescue training. Izuku was just listening to the conversations happening around him, smiling and laughing along. I say whatever comes to mind, so I want to ask you Midoriya. Azui spoke beside him. Yes, Azui? Call me Tsu. All right, Tsu. I can't help but think that your quirk isn't just invisibility, Midoriya. Really? What do you mean? It's more like you disappear rather than turning invisible. I also can't feel your body heat even though we are sitting right next to each other right now. I thought Midoriya's quirk is just like mine, but he can turn it on and off. Hagakure exclaimed. Well, Tsu's not wrong. My quirk is called Ghost. It lets me turn invisible for the most part, but like you said, it's more like disappearing since I can't physically interact with my environment when I'm not visible. But why is your quirk called Ghost if it's just invisibility? Ashido asked. Well, it's because I'm a ghost. Everyone looked at him confused. I can do ghost stuff like hover off the ground a little, pass through objects, or send chills down your spine when I touch you. That's a pretty cool quirk, Midoriya. Kaminari exclaimed. Yeah, but like all quirks, it has drawbacks. We're here, Aizawa-sensei announced as the bus stopped. Welcome to the Unforeseen Simulation Joint, or USJ, for short. Oh my god, it's the Space Hero, 13. A pro hero who specializes on search and rescue. Izuku exclaimed. Oh, I love 13. They're one of my favorite heroes. Uraraka beamed. Aizawa-sensei approached 13. 13, where's All Might? He was supposed to meet us here. 13 whispered something to Aizawa-sensei and raised 3 fingers. Oh, All Might ran out of time. If he's not here then? That man is the height of irresponsibility, Aizawa-sensei sighed. Clock's ticking, we should get started. The power suddenly went out. Izuku felt the shift in air as Kurogiri's portal opened in the center of USD. Gather together and don't move. Everyone was startled at Aizawa-sensei's sudden command. They hadn't noticed the portal yet. 13, protect the students. What's that? They finally noticed when Tamura, along with the Nomu and a couple of villains, stepped out of the portal. Has the training started already? I thought we were rescuing people? Stay back. Aizawa-sensei yelled, putting on his goggles. Those are villains. 13 and Eraserhead, huh? Kurogiri spoke. According to the schedule we retrieved from UA, All Might should be here as well. So you scumbags used the press as a cover and sneaked in the campus. Where is he? I went through the trouble of bringing this whole crowd too. All Might? The symbol of peace. I can't believe he's not here. Aizawa-sensei readied his capture weapon and Izuku put on his gloves while Tamura was still talking. Maybe if we kill a few kids he'll come out to play. Aizawa-sensei jumped down the stairs towards the crowd of villains. Panic ensued and everyone tried to make a run for the door, but they were stopped when Kurogiri materialized in front of them. It's a pleasure to meet you. We are the League of Villains. I believe All Might is supposed to be here today and yet I see no sign of him. There must have been some change in plans. Well, in the end I suppose that doesn't matter. I still have a role to play. Kaken and Kiroshima launched themselves towards Kurogiri, although Izuku already knew their attack was futile against a man like Kurogiri. Did you think we'd just stand around and watch you tear this place to shreds? Kiroshima exclaimed. You live up to your foolish reputation, but you should be more careful, children, otherwise someone might get hurt. You too, get out of the way right now. 13 commanded. My job is to scatter you all, to meet my comrades and your deaths. Kurogiri surrounded everyone with his dark purple mist. Izuku's original plan was to get teleported with Kiroshima to watch his back, but there's been a change of plans. All Might's not here. Himiko is transformed as a villain with a quirk that can jam the signal to prevent the students from calling for help. He needs to think of a way to call the heroes quickly. He spotted Ida and pushed him away from the opening portals. Ida, you need to run back to UA and get help. But it would be disgraceful to leave everyone behind. This is no time to be hesitating, Ida. Just go. But the more you hesitate, the longer we'll be in danger. What we need is for you to get All Might. Ida looked at their remaining classmates who didn't get teleported by Kurogiri. They gave him reassuring nods which prompted Ida to ready his engines. All right, Ida said as he dashed away. Izuku glared at Kurogiri who was about to open a portal in front of Ida. Don't stop him. Kurogiri seemed to have gotten the message and redirected his focus on 13 and the remaining students. Izuku figured they'd be fine, so he decided to make his way down the central plaza. Where are you going, Deku-kun? Uraraka called out. I'm gonna check on Aizawa-sensei. He's at a disadvantage when fighting against a crowd. Izuku heads to the central plaza to see Aizawa-sensei fighting the villains. Tamura lunged towards him and managed to decay Aizawa-sensei's elbow. By the way, hero, I'm not the final boss. Aizawa-sensei was quickly pinned by the Nomu on the ground. It snapped both of his arm and smashed his head repeatedly on the ground. What do you think of him, Eraserhead? He's the bioengineered anti-symbol of peace, but you could call him Nomu. Sorry, Eraserhead. I'd help you if I could. You can erase quirks. That's wonderful, but it's nothing impressive. In the face of overwhelming power, you might as well be quirkless, Tamura said as Kurogiri appeared beside him. Shigaraki Tamura, one of the students, managed to escape the facility and call for help. With that, All Might should arrive here soon. That's good, Kurogiri. But before All Might gets here, let's wreck some of his pride as the symbol of peace. Tamura lunges towards Tsu and Mineta, who were hiding in the water, but wires quickly wrapped around his limbs, stopping his outstretched arm from reaching Tsu and Mineta. You! Everyone's attention turned towards Izuku. Sorry, but I won't let you hurt them, Izuku said, glaring at Tamura. Don't get in my way. Nomu! Tamura commanded the Nomu, but Izuku disappeared before the Nomu could attack him. Suddenly the door burst open with an explosion and All Might steps in. It's fine now. I am here. I've been waiting, hero. You trash of society. The battle between All Might and the Nomu has come to an end, and the League of Villains have retreated. Behind the smoke and rubble, Izuku sees All Might in his skeletal form. Yawned Midoriya, this is... All Might panicked when they made eye contact. Izuku also noticed Kiroshima panicking between them. Izuku sighs and makes a gesture of zipping his mouth and dropping the key. The police and other heroes arrived the scene to apprehend the low-level villains that Tamura recruited. Among the crowd, he spots a familiar face approaching him. Long time no see, Midoriya. In case you didn't remember, I'm Detective Tsukachi Naomasa. I'd like to ask you a few questions about what happened. Sure thing, Detective. Izuku proceeds to tell the detective exactly how he witnessed the events happen. I see. Thank you for your statement, Tsukachi said as he closed his notepad. By the way, could you come with me? Izuku and Tsukachi make their way to the nurse's office. Inside was All Might in his skeletal form lying on the hospital bed and Kiroshima sitting on the side. Have a seat, young Midoriya. There is something we need to talk about to you and young Kiroshima regarding what you saw after my battle with the Nomu. All Might tells them the story about a fight with a villain that happened 5 years ago which badly injured his stomach. I hope that you boys keep this a secret and not tell anyone. Don't worry, All Might, Kiroshima nodded. Izuku looked at everyone in the room. Everyone had a serious look on their face that it made Izuku chuckle. All Might, I already knew. You weren't as active in recent years. Anyone would have noticed that you've slowly decreased your hours of doing hero work. Oh, and by the way, don't even try to fool me. Kiroshima already knows about you since he's your successor. You gave him his quirk after all? They were all in shock. Young Midoriya, have you told anyone about this? No, I haven't. Because there's no need to. All for One and the HPSC already know without Izuku telling them. All Might glanced at Tsukachi with a nervous frown. He's telling the truth, Tsukachi said to All Might. Izuku slightly raised his eyebrow at Tsukachi's statement. Well, it's been a long day, I'll be going now. Izuku stood up and Tsukachi escorted him out of the room. I could give you a ride home with the police car, Tsukachi offered as they made their way through the hallways. Thank you for the offer, Detective, but I still have a job to attend to after this. Izuku smiled at him and disappeared. It wasn't long until they resumed classes after the USJ incident. Izuku was sitting in the classroom, paying no mind to the conversations happening around him. A warp gate quirk, cousin chuckled. Quite familiar, don't you think, Specter? Specter stayed silent. I asked you a question, Specter. It's the same quirk that was seen during the fight with All Might and All for One 5 years ago. Yes, the fight which your mother, that traitor, instigated. Cousin folded her fingers together and looked directly into his eyes. Tell me, Specter, have you heard from your father lately? No. All for One never reached out to me. He didn't tell a lie, it was Izuku who reached out first. But if you ever try to be in cahoots with him behind my back, I might have to get rid of you, Specter. Fear flashed in Specter's eyes for a split second, his hand instinctively touching his neck behind his scarf. You hold my lifeline. You know I'm loyal to you. Of course you are, Specter. I know you know better to not bite the hand that feeds you. Aizawa-sensei stepped into the classroom covered in bandages, snapping Izuku back to reality. His classmates expressed their concern for their teacher. My well-being isn't important. What's important is that your fight isn't over yet. The UA Sports Festival is about to start. Is it really okay to have a sports festival so soon after the villains snuck inside? What if they attack us again or something? One of the students said. Apparently, the administration thinks this is a good way to show that the threat has been handled and the school is safer than ever. Security will also be strengthened compared to that of previous years. This event is a huge opportunity for all students of UA. It's not something we could cancel because of a few villains. All the top heroes around the country will be watching for scouting purposes. Joining a famous hero agency will get you more experience and popularity. If you expect to go pro, then the path to your future will open up at this event. You have 2 weeks to prepare, so don't slack off on your training. Yes, sir. The class cheered in excitement. Competing in the sports festival would have been fun, but Izuku doesn't plan on participating. Any form of publicity would be bad for him. Izuku was about to leave the class to go home when Aizawa-sensei stopped him. Nizu wanted to speak to you. Is something wrong? I don't know. He said he simply wanted to talk. They walked together towards the principal's office. Aizawa-sensei opened the door and Izuku stepped inside. Thank you for bringing him here, Aizawa. You may leave now, Nizu said. I would at least like to know why you called one of my students here, Aizawa-sensei protested. I have personal matters to discuss with Midoriya. Don't worry, he's not in trouble. Aizawa-sensei sighed as he left the room, closing the door behind him. Izuku sat down nervously. What personal matters did you want to discuss with me? I'll get straight to the point. Why did you let the League of Villains escape? Pardon? Nizu stared at him with his beady eyes. I know your identity as Spectre, Midoriya. There is no need to keep up the act. Spectre's face turned serious. Why didn't you take out Shigaraki when it seemed that you had plenty of opportunities to do so? It's not my job to take down villains, it's the heroes. I'm supposed to be here as an ordinary student. But don't worry, I still have the responsibility of protecting those around me. I see. As someone who works for the HPSC, I'd like to hear your personal opinion on the League of Villains. Spectre put his hand on his chin. I think the League of Villains wanting to kill All Might sounds a bit far-fetched. I mean, no one in their right mind would attempt such a thing, right? But considering the quirks and forces that they have, and All Might's deteriorating state, it's not entirely impossible for them. What about you? Huh? If you wanted to, would you be able to kill All Might? It's not impossible. He's still human after all. But it's not a matter of whether I want to or not. It's a matter of whether cousin orders it. Izuku was about to head for the school gate when he decided to make a detour. While making his way to the vending machine in the cafeteria, he recalled his conversation with Nizu. Are you going to participate in the sports festival? No, I'll just break my arm or something so I'll get excused. The sports festival is where students get opportunities for internships. That won't be a problem, he smiled. If you say so. By the way, Nizu, while we're at it, I have something I'd like to ask. What is it? Why is someone like Mineta Minoru in Class 1A? I'd say that his attitude is quite problematic, especially towards the girls. I didn't expect a prestigious school like UA to accept someone like him into the hero class nonetheless. I understand your concern. Under normal circumstances, I never would have accepted a student like him. Izuku raised an eyebrow. Were you threatened? Nizu gave a small nod. It must be someone of power then. They were going to cut a majority of the school's budget. I can bring this up to cousin if you want. If I show that Mineta is more trouble than he's worth, I'm sure cousin will gladly do something about it. Perhaps so, although I do wish you keep the other students away from the crossfire. Spectre bowed down to Nizu. Leave it to me. He crouched down to read the labels when he felt someone trip over him, breaking him out of his thoughts. What the hell? Izuku saw a purple-haired boy on the floor next to him. How did I not see you there? He winced. Sorry, it's my quirk. That tends to happen when I just zone out or think too deeply about things. Izuku reached out his hand. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. The purple-haired boy stared at Izuku. Hey, I know you. You're the guy who gave me advice during the entrance exam. Izuku thought back to that time. I guess I do remember doing something like that. I'm Midoriya Izuku. Izuku beamed while taking the other boy's hand and shaking it. Shinso Hitoshi, he replied monotonously. Izuku decided to dial back his energy a bit. Let me buy you a drink. Izuku already pressed the buttons on the vending machine before Shinso could reply. He tossed one of the coffee drinks he bought to Shinso. Thanks. Izuku softly smiled at him. They both make their way to the bench to sit down. By the way, what class are you in? 1C General Studies. Oh, sorry. You wanted to be in the hero course, right? Yeah, but I wasn't able to score high enough. I did think about the advice you gave me. You were right on the money. They do count rescue points, but I wasn't able to do it. What's your quirk anyway? If you find out, you'll stop talking to me. I won't. Shinso looked at him with doubt and hesitancy. Promise. I've encountered lots of quirks. Yours probably won't surprise me. Still with a bit of hesitancy, he answered. Brainwashing. Izuku's eyes lit up. Brainwashing? That's such a cool quirk. How does it activate? To what extent can you brainwash someone? What kind of brainwashing is it? Does it work with anyone or are there certain requirements? Izuku kept asking Shinso. Wait, my quirk is brainwashing. Yeah, that's what you said. And you're still okay with talking to me? Yeah. Why wouldn't I be? Well, I have a villainous quirk. Izuku blinked at him, realizing what he meant. Oh, Shinso. Izuku turned to look at Shinso right in the eye. Listen, no quirk is inherently villainous. It's how you use that quirk, whether for good or bad. I know someone who has a similar quirk to yours. She could also brainwash people into thinking a certain way. She uses her quirk to manipulate and control the people around her. She sounds like a terrible person, right? Yeah. Now let me ask you this. Do you brainwash every person you meet? No. Do you use your quirk for cheating? For petty crime? No. Then you're not a villain. You wanted to become hero, right? You wanted to prove others wrong. That's why you came to this school. Yeah, but at this point, being a hero is just a pipe dream. Don't give up so easily. Can you tell me about your quirk? Shinso proceeded to explain his quirk. That's a really useful quirk, Shinso. You can easily apprehend a villain just by speaking to them. You'd be great as an underground hero. Thanks. You just need to train your body, 'cause right now you look like the wind can knock you over. Ouch. Don't worry, I can help you. The sports festival is coming up, and we can train together. We can think ways to disguise how your quirk's activation requirement, 'cause you'll definitely need that. We can even ask Aizawa-sensei for help. I'm sure he'll gladly help someone like you out. Why do you want to help me? I'm training to be a hero after all. I see a lot of potential in you. I'd be lying if I said I didn't have ulterior motives. Shinso raised an eyebrow. I have this classmate I want to get expelled. He's a real pervert and he's been harassing the girls in our class ever since he got here. How did someone like him get into the hero course? Beats me. I already talked to Principal Nizu about it and he said I could try to do something about it. Why didn't the principal just expel him already if he's such a pervert? Dunno, Izuku shrugged. But did you hear about the rule that if a general course student makes it to the finals, they're granted a spot in the hero course? Yeah, I thought I'd have a chance with that. So if I get my classmate expelled, there'd be an empty spot in our class. And you want to help me train so I can take that spot? Yep. Why me though? There could be other general course students more worthy than me. Do you not want it? I do, but... Listen, Shinso, Izuku's eyes were serious. Like you, I want others to be proven wrong. If someone like you could be a hero, then maybe you could inspire others who might be going through the same thing as you are. After thinking it over, Shinso finally agreed. Thanks. No problem. Izuku wants Shinso to be a hero because he doesn't want the HPSC to have him. A quirk like his would be so useful. But if he were to become a hero, he'd be under UA's protection. He's already suffered so much. If he suffers any more because of cousin, he'd... Izuku continued to chat with Shinso as they went to the train station together. Sports Festival is nearing and Specter, along with Halt, Vim and Vamps were tasked by Cousin to keep guard during the sports festival as extra security. Guess I'll have to fake an injury so I don't have to participate in the sports festival, Spectre muttered to himself. What if I run you over with a car? Halt suggested with a smirk on her face. There is no need for that, Vim said. We can just fake a medical report and have him show up with an arm cast. Vim, that is such a better idea than getting hit by a car. It's not like you'll die anyway, Halt said. Everyone gasped in shock as Izuku stepped into the classroom wearing an arm cast on his left arm on the day of the sports festival. Oh no! Deku, what happened? Full of concern, Uraraka immediately approached him. I'm fine, I just injured my arm during training, I kinda overdid it. But don't worry. It'll heal in a week or two. Doesn't that mean you won't get to compete in the sports festival? Man, that is Many more of his classmates expressed their pity and concern for Izuku. Really guys, it's okay. I'll be cheering for you all on the bleachers. He'll also be taking a lot of pictures to get some photo evidences of Mineta harassing his classmates. After the cavalry battle, they were given a 1-hour break before continuing with the final event of the sports festival. Izuku, along with Uraraka, Ida and Kiroshima, decided to look around the booths to buy some snacks. While looking at the menus, someone bumped into Izuku and hid behind him. What the Himiko? Vamps, get back here! Halt commanded, running towards them. Izuku put himself between Halt and Himiko. What's going on here? That beach stole my wallet. Halt wouldn't let me buy snacks. We have a job to do. But it's so boring. Himiko whined. Believe me, I'd rather be doing anything else than just stand around here people watching, but we've been given direct orders, Halt sighed. Izuku grabbed the wallet from Himiko, took a few bills and tossed the wallet back to Halt. He handed the money to Himiko. You can do both, you know. Excuse me? What's going on here? Ida intervened. Izuku forgot about them. Oh, where are my manners? These guys are Ida Tenya, Uraraka Achiko and Kiroshima Ijiro, and these are. Hi. I'm Toga Himiko. I'm Izuku's best friend. Himiko chirped. She took each one of their hands and shook it. Everyone waited for Halt to introduce herself too. She sighed and crossed her arms. Call me Halt, she said, frowning at his classmates. Anyway, Midoriya, we should probably get going. We wouldn't want to disturb you UA students. Izuku waved them goodbye as Halt grabbed Himiko by the collar and walked away. Who are those people? Uraraka asked. Don't mind them. They're just people who work for the HPSC. I happen to know them, 'cause my mom used to work there. You seem pretty close with them, Mido bro. Yeah? Izuku smiled. Later that night, Spectre brought up Mineta to Cousin. I've compiled multiple complaints and photographic evidence of Mineta Minoru sexually harassing female UA students. I already brought this issue up to Nizu and asked why such person hasn't been expelled yet. It turns out that Mr. Mineta, one of our own employees, had threatened to cut a majority UA's budget. Mr. Mineta has been abusing his power for his piece of trash son. Cousin pinched the bridge of his nose. I'm glad you caught wind of this, Spectre. I'll have Mr. Mineta disposed of as soon as possible. We can't have him ruining the HPSC's relationship with UA. Would you like me to do it? No, I have another assignment for you, Cousin said as she hands him a file. Mineta Minoru has been expelled and won't be attending class anymore, Aizawa-sensei announced to the class. The class talked among themselves, most of them expressing relief. I also have another announcement. Since there's now an empty seat in 1A, you'll have a new student joining your class. The classroom door opened, revealing Shinso. He stepped in front of the board beside Aizawa-sensei. I'm Shinso Hitoshi. The class was silent, expecting Shinso to continue. Izuku winked at Shinso and gave him a thumbs up, mouthing, "You can do it." Shinso nodded and breathed in. My quirk is brainwashing, but I'm sure some of you probably figured that out already during the sports festival. Nice to meet you all, I guess. After introducing pointing Shinso to his seat, Aizawa-sensei started class to talk about their internships. Midoriya, Aizawa-sensei approached him as the bell for lunch rang. I'd like to discuss about your internship. You weren't able to showcase yourself during the sports festival because of your injury, so you weren't offered any internships. I appreciate your concern, Sensei. I actually plan to talk to a friend of mine in the HPSC to offer me an internship. That should do, right? I didn't know you had connections in the HPSC. My mom used to work there. Izuku smiled at him. Anyway, just give me their contact information once you have your internship confirmed. You can go ahead now. Izuku thanked him and headed to the cafeteria. So you want me to be a part of your little villain league? You won't accomplish anything without conviction and desire. Without those, you'll always be an aimless weakling with nothing to achieve. That's why it turned out like this, Stain said as his knife is digging into Tamura's shoulder. Kurohige, get rid of this guy? I can't move my body. It must be his quirk. The word hero has lost all meaning in this society, Stain continued. The world is overgrown with fakes and criminals like you who chase petty dreams. They must all be purged. I'll kill you. Shigaraki decayed one of Stain's blades. You sure talk a lot, hero killer. Conviction? I don't have anything grand like that. If I had to choose a desire though, it'd be killing All Might. If this world wants to worship trash like him, I'll destroy their beloved symbol of peace and crush them while they're in shock. Stain stepped back away from Tamura. It seems our goals oppose each other. My business is done here. Return me to Hosu. There are things I must attend to there. Kurohige opened a portal and Stain left. Izuku finally let himself become visible. He would have been a great asset if he joined the league, Tamura. I don't want someone like him to be a party member. He thinks he can get away with stabbing me? I'll kill him. What a coincidence, my boss wanted him dead too. Ida Tenya confronted Stain in a dark alleyway. He could see another one of Stain's victims lifeless on the ground. A child wearing a suit. Who are you? I am the younger brother of the hero you attacked. I have come to stop you in his place. Remember my name for as long as you live. I am Ingenium, and I am the hero who will defeat you. Then so be it. Die. They both lunged at each other. Stain jumped over Tenya and kicked his shoulder with his spiked boots. Stain stomped his head to the ground. You're a weakling just like your brother. He took his katana and stabbed Tenya's left shoulder. You aren't heroes. Both of you are nothing but fakes. Because of you, my brother won't be able to work as a pro hero. I won't forgive you. I'll kill you. Tenya cried in pain. You're completely blinded by your desire for revenge. That's the furthest from what a hero should be. That's why you shall die tonight. Stain took out the blade from his shoulder and licked the blood off of it. Tenya can feel himself unable to move. Goodbye. May your death bring a better world. Tenya braced himself for the pain that was about to come, but Stain suddenly jumped back away from him, holding his bloodied cheek. He heard metal clang behind Stain. I didn't expect you to dodge that. I figured you were too focused on blabbing, you didn't even notice me while you killed Native. A voice spoke behind Tenya. They walked past Tenya, standing between him and Stain. His vision was blurry without his glasses, and he could only make out the person's hooded figure in the dark alleyway. You? Who are you? Stain demanded. Just someone assigned to kill you. You've been killing too many heroes as of recently. You've been quite an inconvenience to my boss. Don't get involved. This has nothing to do with you. Tenya shouted at the figure. Shut it, the figure hissed. I know who you are, Stain growled. Oh, that symbol on that brooch you wear. I've heard rumors underground about people sent by the HPSC to do their dirty work. There's little to none information about them, except for the fact that they all wear a brooch with a one-winged sword. The figure lunged at Stain with a knife at hand. Tenya can vaguely see them exchange blows. Stain managed to stab the figure in the arm. He was about to lick the blood on the blade when he gasped in surprise. What, the you don't bleed? With Stain caught off guard, the figure striked. He pinned Stain down on the floor and pressed a knife against his throat. You have such an interesting quirk, Stain. By liking someone's blood, you're able to paralyze them. That's why every hero had been helpless against you. Too bad I'm the worst matchup for you. I wonder what's the time limit for your quirk. Do effects vary with blood type? The figure giggled. You're the reason why this society is overgrown with fakes. You condone their selfish deeds and bury their dirty laundry. I can't allow you to kill me. I've yet to cleanse this society of fake heroes. Stain yelled below the hymn. As long as the people on top are corrupt, Your little cullings change nothing but put a target on your back. I'll spare you the pain of witnessing your ideals fail to come to fruition. The figure slices Stain's neck with the knife, blood spraying all over. Tenya was already unparalyzed, but he couldn't bring himself to move after witnessing the scene. The hooded figure stood up from Stain's lifeless body. Although Tenya cannot see his face, he could feel his cold gaze on him. You should call the heroes before you bleed out, the figure said evenly. You can move already, right? Tenya scrambled to get his phone from his hero suit and dialed the emergency hotline. Stay out of trouble, hero in training. The figure turned around and disappeared in the darkness of the alleyway. Tenya was rescued by the heroes and was brought to the hospital. After being treated by the doctors, a man wearing a brown coat entered the room. Hello, Ida Tenya. I'm Detective Tsukachi Naomasa. We've met before during the USJ incident. Yes, I recall. I'm here to ask you about what happened. You were found in an alleyway with the hero killer dead. Ida, did you see who killed Stain? I didn't see their face, but... Before Tenya could continue, the door slammed open. A woman wearing red octagon glasses on top of her head walked in. Sorry, detective, but I'm taking over from here on out, the woman said, showing the detective a badge. The detective stayed silent for a while before he reluctantly agreed, never taking his eyes off the woman as he left the room. You're Halt, right? I remember Midoriya introduced us during the sports festival. Tenya spoke. Halt narrowed her eyes at him. That darn ghost, she muttered. She sat down on the chair next to his hospital bed, crossing her legs. Tell me what happened. Tenya told her the main gist events as he recalled it. Listen, kid, you operated without a hero license. Don't you know vigilantism is illegal? Well, luckily for you, we can just pretend that what you did never happened under one condition: you will not speak of anything that happened tonight with anyone, you understand? It was Endeavor who defeated Stain, not this mysterious guy you're talking about. I understand not talking about my involvement, but why should I keep quiet about that mysterious person? It's a government secret, kid, and any information about that guy better not reach the public. The HPSC is already handling it. Tenya noticed the brooch Halt was wearing. I've heard rumors underground about people sent by the HPSC to do their dirty work. There's little to none information about them, except for the fact that they all wear a brooch with a one-winged sword. He recalled Stain's words. He looked down on his lap and clenched his fists. I understand. But get well soon. Tenya eyed Halt suspiciously as she stood up and left the room. Just who is that mysterious figure? Spectre, Vamps, Halt are in the HPSC building, consulting them for their next assignments. We managed to finish all the tasks assigned to us before the supposed deadlines, so we won't be getting any more assignments until next week. Go do whatever it is that you do in your free time. Vim shooed them away and shifted his attention back towards his computer. Since we're not busy for now, let's go grab dinner together. Halt suggested. Oh, I want something with meat. Vamps exclaimed while raising her hand up to Halt. I'd like katsudon, Spectre. And Vim's paying. Halt grinned. What? I never said anything about joining you for dinner. Besides, I'm still sorting out a few documents, Vim said without looking at them. Oh, come on. You said we won't be getting any more assignment till next week. Cut some slack. We deserve a little treat after a job well done, yeah? Aren't you proud of your subordinates? Vim ignored Halt and continued typing away on his keyboard. You should come, Vim. It'll be fun to hang out with us from time to time, Spectre said. That caused Vim to look up from his computer towards Spectre, who smiled kindly towards him. Vim's expression slightly softened with a hint of sadness for a second before blinking it away and replacing it with his usual stoic expression. Fine, Vim sighed. But we're splitting the bill. Halt and Vamps cheered while Spectre continued to smile at Vim. Halt and Spectre were waiting in line at the counter while Vim and Vamps already went ahead to reserve a table for them. I don't know how you did it, but somehow you managed to convince that old man to come with us, Halt said beside Spectre. Hee, Vim kind of has a soft spot for me, Spectre giggled to himself. Really? I never noticed anything like that. He's just as strict as ever. What did you do to get on his good side? Nothing. Spectre smiled. I don't believe that. You had to have done something, you've always been sneaky. Spectre just continued to smile at her. Before Halt could pry even more, it was already their turn to order at the counter. Halt and Spectre looked around to find the table Vim and Vamps were seated at. When they finally found the table, they were surprised to see Hawks sitting with them. Yo, Spectre, Hawks greeted. Hawks. I didn't expect to see you here, Spectre said. I came here before you guys, and when I saw Vamps and Vim, I invited them over. Nice of you to finally join us. I don't get to see you around as much ever since you became a limelight hero, Halt grinned. They continued to chat until their food arrived. Laughter filled the diner as they bickered with each other and ate their food. For once, nothing else mattered, no responsibilities, no dread. Just ordinary people enjoying the moment. While hanging out at the Lave hideout with the League, Izuku told them about the upcoming forest training camp. They are yet to know the location, which will be announced at a later date. He also told them about how the final exams went. He was unluckily paired with Kaken to fight All Might. Kaken was extremely uncooperative, and Izuku had to let him get beat up by All Might to make him realize they have to work together to pass the exam. What if I kidnap and recruit some of your classmates? Tamura suggested. That's a terrible idea, Tamura. They're in a hero school for a reason. They'll never succumb to villainy. What about that Bakugu kid? He acted pretty villainous during the sports festival. Oh please, I've known Kaken since we were little. He may be an a-hole, but he's dead set on becoming the #1 hero. Still, I wanna attack at the training camp. But All Might won't be there anyway. Then we use them as bait for the final boss, Tamura grinned. Act natural. Don't make a scene. I'm just an old friend you ran into you at the mall. Calm down and wipe that look off your face. I just want to talk to you. That's all. A friendly chat. Ijiro was shaking in his boots. This was supposed to be a fun mall outing with his class to shop for the upcoming training camp. He went off on his own to look for the brand of hair gel he usually buys, but found himself at the mercy of Shigaraki Tamura with his hand choking his neck. Don't try and do anything funny. The instant all 5 of my fingers touch your neck, you'll start crumbling from the skin of your throat. You'll turn to dust in less than a minute. If you do that in a place with this many people, a hero will come and catch you in no time, Ijiro managed to croak out. I don't doubt that. But look at these sheeple. Any one of them could use their quirks and start a massacre whenever they wanted. And yet they're all here, smiling, thinking laws and rules would protect them because they assume everyone has the same morals. They're convinced nothing bad would ever happen to them. Before I get caught, I could skill 20, 30, maybe even more before the heroes show up and manage to stop me. Shigaraki evilly grinned. Ijiro wouldn't stop shaking. He couldn't bring his body to move or do anything to stop Shigaraki. All he could do is shut his eyes tight and hope someone would save him. Let him go. A familiar voice spoke. Ijiro opened his eyes to see Midoriya glaring at Shigaraki with cold eyes. What? I'm just having a little chat with this UA student. No need to glare at me like that. Shigaraki waved him off with his other hand. Let him go, Midoriya commanded. Or what? Let him go or you'll deeply regret it. Ijiro had never seen Midoriya act like this. His eyes almost seemed deadly. He felt Shigaraki become still. Midoriya continued to stare Shigaraki down, and Shigaraki stared right back at him, like they were having a conversation with their eyes. Whatever, Shigaraki finally said. He let go of Ijiro's neck and disappeared into the crowd. Midoriya sighed heavily, with a hint of irritation. Ijiro's legs gave out, causing him to kneel on the ground. He grasped his throat and started coughing. He wanted to cry and vomit. Are you okay, Kiroshima? Midoriya kneeled in front of him. The cold gaze he once had was now replaced with extreme worry. Why yeah? I'll call the cops. After Midoriya reported the incident, the shopping wall was temporarily closed. The heroes and the police conducted a search, but they weren't able to find Shigaraki. Ijiro and Midoriya were taken to the police by Detective Tsukachi and gave their statements. Ijiro sat in the waiting area of the police station. He was already done with giving his statement and was waiting for Midoriya to finish. After a while, The door finally opened with Midoriya and Detective Tsukachi coming out of the room. Thank you for your cooperation. I'm glad you two are safe and things didn't escalate any further. Kiroshima, your parents called and said they would pick you up. Ijiro could only nod. Midoriya sat beside him after the detective left. How are you doing, Kiroshima? Who was too terrified to do anything. I froze up, just like I did back then at UJ. Hey, it's okay to be frightened. Villains can be scary. But I was helpless. Supposed to be a hero. How could I help those who are frightened when I'm too frightened myself to even move? Midoriya rubbed his back as tears started falling from Ijiro's eyes. You're still only in your first year, Kiroshima. You've yet to gain more experience. You'll get used to facing villains eventually. You're so manly, Midoriya. How did you manage to face Shigaraki without shaking? It didn't feel like you were afraid at all. It felt like the opposite actually. Like Shigaraki was more intimidated by Midoriya than vice versa. I don't really get scared for what happens to me. What I get scared about is what would happen if I don't do anything. I don't want the people I care about getting hurt. Midoriya smiled sadly. That's so manly of you. You'd make a great hero, Midobro. Ijiro will have to work twice as hard to overcome his fear, so that the next time he'll have to face the villains, he'd be able to act to protect the people he cares about. Izuku stayed with Kiroshima in the police station until his parents picked him up. He was seriously worried for him. He was also seriously set at Tamura. Why would he do that? Tamura just messaged him earlier that day about going to the mall to buy new games, and now he finds him threatening Kiroshima. What happened to buying games? He immediately headed for the Love hideout and slammed the door wide open. What the F was that, Tamura? You were absolutely being reckless. Language, Izuku, all for one spoke from the TV screen. Well, Tamura was being a stupid idiot. Things turned out okay in the end, did it not? Tamura was able to return safely and none of your classmates got killed. All for one said, you can't just let him do whatever he wants. I have a job to protect 1A, especially Kiroshima. If he had gone any further, I would have had to take action against him. He could have gotten caught. Or worse, I would have been forced to kill him. That is why I had you placed in the league, Izuku. You are to protect Tamura. I can't disobey orders given to me by cousin. That's why I went to you in the first place, right? And speaking of which, you haven't even fulfilled your part of the deal. That will come in due time. And when is that, huh? You would do everything for Tamura people, Nomus, power you'll give anything he needs. But what about for me? You've done jack shit to get my keepsake back. You've been there for him, supported him all these years, but what about me? Nothing. You're the reason why my life has gone shit and why mom isn't here anymore. Izuku smashed his fists against the counter. You're the one who pulled the trigger. Izuku's eyes widened. Izuku, all you have to do is be there and support Tamura. Just trust the process and we'll all eventually get what we want, All for One said. Izuku stayed silent for a minute, looking down to hide his eyes behind his hair. He tossed the brochure with the location of the training camp. Just don't kill or badly injure any of them, got it? I still have my duties to protect them, Izuku said as he walked out the bar. Tamura couldn't help but find Izuku and Sensei's conversation odd. It's like failing to understand the main story because you haven't played through a character's backstory yet. He decided to chase after Izuku, but he doesn't know which direction he went. One of Izuku's cheat skills is to turn invisible, which makes him valuable to the party, but right now it's working against his favor. Tamura scratched his neck. Izuku could have already left the building, but if he hadn't, there's one place he could think of where someone would go to cool off. After walking up flights of stairs, Tamura opened the rooftop door. It was one of those late nights when he gets out of room to eat at Kurogiri's bar when he gets hungry after a long session of gaming. He tried to pull one of the bar stools towards him so he could sit down, but it wouldn't budge. What the hell? Tamura cursed. He looked to see that Izuku was already sitting on the stool with his notebook. Oh, Izuku huffed a laugh. Sorry, Tamura, this seat's taken. He playfully stuck his tongue out. Ugh, why do you always have your invisibility on? Tamura asked as he sat beside Izuku. Kurogiri was already making his meal behind the counter. I'm not doing it on purpose. Turning invisible is something I can consciously and subconsciously do. When I zone off or think too much, it just activates on its own, Izuku shrugged. I swear you do it on purpose to mess with me. Haha, well, something about my quirk is that when my invisibility is passively active, you'll still be able to see me if you know where I am or you're actively looking for me. Tamura scanned the rooftop to see Izuku sitting on the ledge. Izuku gave no sign of noticing him. Tamura quietly walked towards him. I honestly expected you to be hugging your knees while crying, Tamura said as he sat beside him. I would if I could. My boss doesn't like me crying, so I can't, Izuku said without glancing at him, eyes focused on the city view in front of them. Your boss isn't here right now, so why not just do what you want? Izuku shook his head. She's been commanding me not to cry since I was younger, so it's already ingrained in me. I can't really find a loophole against something like, you're not allowed to cry. Tamura thought it was stupid to let Izuku's boss control him like that. My bad about earlier, Tamura apologized. I wasn't actually trying to kill him. I just thought I could have some fun and mess with him when I saw a UA student at the mall. Don't be reckless next time. Izuku frowned at him. Don't want you getting hurt. I really would have been forced to fight you. I have to follow protocol and such. I guess you're more loyal to your boss than you are to the league, Tamura accused. It's not loyalty, just forced obedience, Izuku said evenly. Silence stretched between them, the sound of the busy roads filling the air. So, what's up with you and Sensei? It's like there's some kind of relationship between you two, Tamura finally asked. Tamura, when did All for One took you in? What? Just answer the question. Tamura contemplated for a bit before answering. I was probably about 5. I was just roaming the streets aimlessly after the incident with my family, then Sensei saved me. It wasn't the heroes who saved me, but Sensei. Sensei took him in, gave him a home, and gave him his purpose. That would have been the same year I was born. Tamura was confused when Izuku didn't elaborate. Was the next dialogue not loading? Silence stretched between them. After a while, Izuku finally spoke. He's my father. Tamura turned to him wide-eyed. Your sensei's son? Tamura gaped. He's heard about Sensei's brother and him being married, but nothing about a son. He never mentioned you. I expected that. I don't think he ever truly cared for me or Mom. It was so easy for him to leave us when he thought I was quirkless. Izuku fidgeted with his fingers. He left us for you. That's out of my control. I don't blame you. Sometimes I feel jealous of you, but more often than not, I pity you. What's there to pity about me? The way you are right now. He conditioned you to be so full of hatred, so angry at the world. He doesn't actually care for you, you're just being used. You're wrong. Sensei saved me when no one else did. All for One easily abandoned me, his own son. He even abandoned Mom, the supposed love of his life. Who's to say he wouldn't abandon you too when you're no longer useful to him? I won't be useless. And that's exactly why you're so pitiful, Izuku sighed. He stood up and hugged Tamura from behind. A part of me wants to push you off this ledge, but a bigger part of me wishes you could live a better life free from pain. Tamura's heart rate spiked at the threat. He instinctively touched Izuku's arm, that encompassed him, with all 5 fingers, but decay did not work on him. Hee, you tried to kill me just now. Genuinely hurtful, he said sarcastically as he got off Tamura and dramatically acted like he's been stabbed in the chest. That wasn't the first time Izuku threatened to kill him, but that was the first time it felt genuine. But the way he said that we wanted him to live a better life felt genuine too. What a weirdo. Whatever. Tamura quickly got off from sitting on the ledge. He walked towards Izuku and flicked his forehead. Ow. That's what you get for threatening me. Izuku pouted as they continued to watch the city view. The bus headed for the training camp stopped in the middle of nowhere. Confused, the 1A students all stepped out of the bus and were greeted by 3 out of the 4 members of the Wild Pussycats. Shortly after, they were thrown off a cliff by Pixie Bob's Quirk. Hey! Mandalay called out from the top of the cliff. Since this is our private land, you can use your quirks as you wish. You have 3 hours. Come to the facility with your own 2 feet. That is, if you can get through the beast's forest. Mandalay walked towards Shota, who was standing near the bus. Don't you think you put them on a pretty crazy schedule, Eraser? Well, we're planning to have them acquire early what they would normally get at the beginning of their second year, so it's going to be crazy no matter what. They need to get permits to use their quirks in the time of emergency and provisional licenses allowing them to work as heroes. With villains being so active right now, they need to learn how to defend themselves. That's pretty thoughtful of you. Midoriya suddenly spoke between him and Mandalay. The wild pussycats jumped in surprise. Shota resisted a flinch and hid his surprised expression behind his scarf. What are you doing up here, Midoriya? Shota said with a stern voice. Why would I let myself be thrown off a cliff? Midoriya smiled at him. Shota sighed and pinched the bridge of his nose. This problem child. That's strange. I can't sense you with my quirk, Ragdoll said. You don't. My quirk search allows me to observe and monitor up to 100 people at a time. Midoriya looked at Ragdoll with stars in his eyes. What's the range that your quirk can monitor a person? Does it detect dead people? Does it work on animals? What about Nizu? Does it work on sentient quirks? Or the Nomus? Midoriya bombarded her with questions. Well, my quirk can only detect humans who are alive. And as far as I know, there's no limit to how far I can monitor a person, but the signal does get weaker the further they are. That's very interesting. Wait, if your quirk can't detect Midoriya, doesn't that imply that he isn't human? Shota asked. Or that he's dead? Midoriya only smiled at him and turned back towards Ragdoll. Not being able to monitor me would cause problems for my training, right? Yeah, I won't be able to help you as much as your classmates since I don't know your quirk and your strengths and weaknesses. I apologize for the trouble. Midoriya bowed his head. My name is Midoriya Izuku. My quirk is called Ghost, which gives me the ability to be invisible and pass through solid objects. I could also hover a few inches off the ground. I could give you more info about my quirk once we get to training. Thank you. We'd really appreciate that. I probably should try catching up to them. I look forward to working with you all. Midoriya waved them goodbye and jumped off the cliff. The sun was already setting down when 1A, tired from running and fighting, finally made it to the training campsite. Shota stood at the entrance as the wild pussycats greeted his problem children. What do you mean 3 hours? The students exclaimed. That's the time it would have taken us. Sorry. Pixie Bob remarked. I'm so hungry I feel like I could die. What the Midoriya? How are you already here? They finally noticed Midoriya standing beside Shota. It was easy for me to slip through the chaos without being noticed. Midoriya smiled sweetly at them. Plus, I can move significantly faster when I'm invisible. We were really surprised when Midoriya already arrived here way earlier than you guys. But honestly, I thought it would take the rest of you even longer. You guys didn't have as hard a time beating my earth beasts as I thought you would. Pixie Bob said. Get your stuff off the bus. Once you've put your bags in your rooms, we'll have dinner in the cafeteria. After that, you'll bathe and go to sleep. We'll start for real tomorrow. Now move quickly, Shota announced. The 1A students staggered towards the bus to get their bags while the wild pussycats went on ahead inside. I honestly expected you to be upset at me for not cooperating with my classmates and going off on my own, Midoriya said beside him when everyone was already gone. I figured that was partly supposed to be a test teamwork. Shota exhaled. He remembered the time when Tsukachi told him his suspicions about Midoriya working for the HPSC after the USJ incident, and the fact that Nizu called him to his office. He asked Nizu multiple times about what he talked about with his student, but Nizu dismissed it as something not to worry about. If Midoriya is really a special agent who works for the HPSC, what is he doing in UA? And what kind of things are they making him do? I think the HPSC is killing off journalists. He recalled Tsukachi's words. There had been 5 people who died in accidents like a car accident or a house fire or a home invasion, and all of them had been journalists. And not only that, according to my investigation, The last article they were working on before they died were scandalous things about top heroes. Midoriya couldn't possibly be responsible for those deaths, right? But with a quirk like his, it would be easy to make things look like an accident. Shota didn't want to suspect his student, but, Midoriya, is the HPSC making you do things you don't want to? Midoriya was taken aback by his question. Sensei, what are you talking about? The training camp will probably be the only opportunity he'll have to talk to Midoriya without the prying ears of Nizu or the HPSC. He won't let this opportunity go to waste. I know you work for the HPSC. Answer the question, problem child. Midoriya's face turned serious before smiling again. I'd be lying if I said I 100% don't like the nature of my job. But that doesn't mean that I like the way things are right now. You know you can ask me for help, Midoriya. I appreciate the concern, Eraserhead. But you are powerless to do anything. Midoriya coldly shot him down. But I want to help you, Midoriya. If you're worried about the HPSC going after me, I can protect Missile. It happened for a split second. Midoriya pressed a knife against his neck from behind. Shota didn't even notice him move. Can you really protect yourself, Eraserhead? Chills went down Shota's spine. Midoriya's whole demeanor changed. If the HPSC were to ever go after you, it would most likely be me they'd send to kill you. Shota did his best not to move as Midoriya pressed the knife harder on his neck. Killed by the very person you tried to help. Ain't that unfortunate? Midoriya giggled behind him. Should I just end you right now and spare you from the pain of failure? Who are you? Shota choked out. This can't be his student. No way Midoriya would. But that would be reckless. Midoriya took away the knife from his neck. Shota was still in shock with how Midoriya acted. His hand went towards his neck. He was surprised he didn't draw any blood considering how hard Midoriya was pressing down the knife. Don't concern yourself with me. It could cost you. Just focus on protecting your students, Eraserhead. Midoriya. I should go unite with the others. They're probably looking for me now. I'm sorry for how I treated you. Midoriya smiled at him and walked away. Shota stood there for a while, clenching his scarf. But Midoriya, you're my student too. Izuku sat in the far corner of the onsen, away from the chatter of his classmates. He didn't mean to threaten Aizawa-sensei with a knife to his throat. It's harder to control his urges when it's someone he cares about, but it was like he was asking to be killed. He slapped his face with both hands. He tried to calm himself by breathing in and out. It was a good thing he used the dull side of the knife earlier. I don't want anyone I care about to be in suffering. That is something he wholeheartedly believes in. He can't let anyone from UA suffer because of his revenge plot. Hey Midobro, what are you doing there all by yourself? Come join us over here. Kiroshima approached him, snapping him out of his thoughts. Okay. This was just such a relaxing spot, I got completely lost in thought. Izuku smiled as he made his way closer to the rest of his classmates. I never noticed it because you always wear a scarf, but how did you get that scar on your neck? Izuku whipped his head towards Kiroshima and instantly tried to cover his neck with his hand. It's nothing, don't worry about it. Whoa, it goes all the way around your neck. Kaminari exclaimed behind him. Izuku wanted to turn invisible right then and there. It's not like he was ashamed of his scar. A big part of him was really fond of it. But it's hard to explain to people how he got such a bizarre scar, so he just hides it. Midoriya, I hate to pry, but doesn't that look like someone cut around your whole neck? Ida asked. She didn't just cut it, she chopped the whole thing off. Izuku chuckled internally. He looked at his classmates who had shocked and worried faces. He noticed Kaken frowning among the crowd surrounding him. I got involved in an incident before, that's how I got this scar. But don't worry. I'm not bothered by it anymore. I just like to cover it up 'cause it's a pain to explain it every time. The one who did that to you, did they get caught? Shinso asked. She didn't get caught for killing her own son. In fact, she even got praised for discovering that Izuku had a quirk that basically makes him immortal. No, Spectre smiled. But she's been dead for a long time now. She only did it 'cause she was hurting, but she's in peace now. His classmates looked at him weirdly, but still with concern. He noticed Kaken's eyes widen. He probably figured out already who she is. Really guys, I'm fine now. Just don't tell the girls about it, okay? Izuku smiled, trying to save the weird atmosphere he accidentally created. He didn't mean to sound so eerie. As long as you're okay now, it's all good. Kiroshima smiled back at him. Eventually, the conversation shifted to other light-hearted things, but Izuku felt Kaken's gaze on him the whole time. Izuku avoided him for the rest of the night. The training camp wasn't really beneficial to Izuku. It was nothing compared to the training he underwent in the HPSC. They wanted the students to push the quirks to the limit, so Izuku just lied about needing his invisibility to last longer. He got paired with Hagakure to practice sneaking around Shoji, who was training his senses. The only way to sense Izuku when he's invisible is the temperature. Having no body heat, he exudes a lower temperature compared to his environment. But he doubts Shoji would be able to sense him in this open environment. The night of the third day of the training camp, the wild pussycats decided to make them take the test of courage, with the 1B students trying to scare the 1A students. Izuku didn't get a pair during the draw lots, which was beneficial for him. After making sure he was alone and invisible, he took out his phone that he sneaked off and texted Tamura, "Ghosty, now is a good time." Not long after, he saw a large blue fire burning the forest in the distance. While UA and the League are distracted with each other, it's time for Spectre to take out a piece of trash. Having planned the layout Tamura's stupid kidnapping plan, Izuku knew exactly where each member of the Vanguard Action Squad were dispatched in the training camp. Spectre quickly made his way to the rocky mountain near the training camp. He strained his ears to look for that person when he heard a young boy's screams up ahead the mountain. He didn't know Mandalay's nephew would be here. He hurriedly approached the source of the sound and observed the situation. Muscular was boasting to the Coda about killing his parents, something Spectre already knew beforehand, having researched about Muscular's atrocities. Muscular was about to punch Coda when Spectre pulled him away with his strings. Coda was shaking in his arms with tears in his eyes. When he realized who saved him, he began thrashing around, shoving Spectre away from him. "You need to get away from here." Coda looked like he was about to say something when Spectre shut him up with his eyes. He glanced at both Spectre and Muscular before running away. "Hey, how dare you steal my prey? You disgust me. Tormenting people before killing them for your own satisfaction and amusement, you make me sick." Spectre glared at Muscular. "Ha! What's wrong with doing what I want? You don't deserve a peaceful death." "As if I'd." Muscular was cut off when Spectre was already up against his face. Spectre stabbed his last remaining eye. Muscular screamed in pain as he used his quirk to strengthen his arms to punch Spectre, but his attack only landed on air. Spectre crouched down to cut the tendons on Muscular's legs, making him fall over on the ground. Spectre spared no time cutting the tendons on his arms to fully disable his mobility. Your quirk is muscle augmentation, which allows you to manipulate and amplify your muscle layers, giving you immense strength and durability. It's quite a powerful quirk, but it's useless if you can't even move your body. I'll kill you. I made sure not to cut any major arteries, but with the amount of cuts I made on your body, you'll eventually bleed to death. So painful. A shame, honestly. Had I had more time, I would have made your death more torturous, Spectre snickered darkly. But this would do. You would die an anticlimactic death, no longer able to do the one thing you love most. Spectre tuned out Muscular's screams and curses. No longer able to spill anyone else's blood, only your own. Spectre stood in the corner of the dimly lit bar, silently watching as Compress and Twice strapped the unconscious Kaken to a chair and cuff his hands. He pulled out his phone and sent his location vim. Spectre leaned against the wall and closed his eyes. It'd be a long while before the heroes show up. This was the plan. Izuku was able to compromise with Tamura. The League would kidnap Kaken, and Spectre would secretly follow them to their base. While being invisible, Spectre would leak their location to the heroes. The League would use Kaken as bait for All Might, and Spectre would watch over Kaken until the heroes arrive, only interfering if he gets too hurt. Tamura still wanted to give recruiting Kaken to the League a shot, but Izuku already knows that's a waste of energy. Whether they are able to defeat All Might or not, The League of Villains would flee to a location Izuku doesn't know about through Kiroshima. Under those circumstances, Spectre should stop them from escaping, but he'll use the excuse that protecting Kaken was of higher priority. Although, if Izuku was being honest, he could easily do both. As for how the League of Villains even found out the camp's location, Himiko agreed to be his scapegoat. Vamps found out the time and location of the training camp through Spectre, and he could use the excuse that Spectre thought Vamps could be trusted with that information since they were colleagues. Vamps would be branded as a traitor by the HPSC, unbeknownst to them that Izuku was one as well. Toga Himiko would escape with the League and finally be free. Izuku deemed her mentally ready to finally cut ties with the HPSC without experiencing withdrawals from cousin's Quirk. Himiko begged Izuku to escape with her too, but even if Izuku was mentally ready too, cousin still has his keepsake. Even if Izuku could run far away from cousin, she would still be able to remotely end his existence. The mental blocks cousin implanted on him prevents Izuku from even attempting to find it. He can't even recall what his keepsake is, all he knows is that he has one. That's why he could only depend on other people to find it for him. Speaking of which, that douchebag All for One still hasn't made any progress with that. Izuku cursed him internally. Izuku tried to pass time by observing everything in the room. The League members were off doing their own thing. Tamura was playing games on his phone, Magna and Spinner were drinking together as Kiroshima refilled their glasses, Compress was showing Himiko and twice card tricks, while Dabi was lying on the couch trying to catch shut-eye but ended up watching Compress as well. Izuku sighed. Only Tamura and Himiko know that he's in the room with them, and probably Kiroshima too. Izuku has no choice but to silently watch over them until the heroes arrive to not complicate his alibi. This wasn't the first time Izuku had to spy on a bunch of people, but he can't help but feel like a creep for watching his friends and acquaintances interact without knowing he was actually there with them. Izuku tried to keep his mind occupied by organizing his mental library of his classmates' quirks. He should try helping them out once this is over. They probably won't mind if he shares his notes with them. For a second he thought he saw Kaken move a bit. Izuku stared at Kaken, but he never opened his eyes, so Izuku shrugged it off as him dreaming. After a while, the television in the bar turned on by itself, displaying sound only. "Izuku, I'd like to speak with you," All for One spoke through the speaker. "Midoriya's not here though," Dabi said. "Yes, I am." Izuku debated on whether to announce his presence, but this should still be fine. Everyone except Tamura, Himiko and Kiroshima gasped in surprise. "What the hell? Since when have you been there? Was that why that one corner in the room was so cold? I knew I wasn't the only one who felt goosebumps. Oh, it's a ghost. Ghosts aren't real. You done watching over us like a creep?" Tamura smirked. Izuku rolled his eyes. "Shut up. I'll have you know that you're pretty boring to watch," Izuku said as he flipped him off. "Had you informed us of your presence, I would have provided much grander entertainment," Compress declared. Anyways, Izuku reverted his attention back to the TV monitor. "What do you want?" "I'll have Kiroshima teleport you to the warehouse to discuss some things. I can't just leave. I have to watch over Kaken and make sure these idiots don't do anything stupid." "I won't ask twice, Izuku. I can't just leave All for One." Everyone was silent with the slight tension in the room. "Izuku," Kiroshima broke the silence. "I'm sure Sensei is calling you over for something important. Rest assured, I shall see to it that the League treats our guest with hospitality. As long as Kaken doesn't get hurt," Izuku sighed. "I'll leave it to you then." Izuku glanced at Kaken one last time before entering Kiroshima's portal. So much for a simple alibi. Ida, Kiroshima, Shinso, Todoroki and Yaoyorozu made their way in the tight gap between the warehouse and the neighboring building. While walking along the wall, they spotted a window to the warehouse. "At that height, we should be able to see inside," Kiroshima whispered. "We'll be blind in the darkness," Todoroki said. "I can make a night vision scope." "Wait, Yaoyorozu," Kiroshima cut her off. "I actually brought one with me for this." "Isn't that super expensive?" Shinso asked. "Whatever, man. It's fine." "Okay, then Kiroshima and Shinso, you two look through it. Ida and I will carry you on our shoulders, Todoroki said. Doing their best in the cramped space, Kiroshima and Shinso stood on Ida and Todoroki's shoulders. What do you see, Kiroshima? Ida asked. This place is pretty trashed. It doesn't look like... Kiroshima gasped and almost fell backwards. What's wrong? What did you see? Todoroki said. In the back on the left. The corner, Shinso. Look. Shinso took the night vision scope from Kiroshima, shaking hand, and looked inside. No way, don't tell me those are... Nomu, Kiroshima finished for Shinso. Ida, Todoroki and Yaoyorozu gasped below them. We've seen enough. We must get out of here. Ida commanded. Wait. Shinso said. I think I see something else. He squinted his eyes to see the same portal that the League of Villains used to take Bakugo appear. Coming out of the portal was a familiar mop of curly hair. Midoriya? After exiting the portal, Izuku found himself in the familiar dimly lit room with Nomus. He instantly felt a gaze on him and looked to his right, but he couldn't see much in the dark. Izuku. All for One spoke. Why'd you bring me here? I would like to apologize for the lack of progress on acquiring your keepsake, but I assure you a plan has already been set to motion. Although, there seems to be a small setback. What? Izuku looked behind All for One and saw a ragdoll lying on the floor. Ragdoll? Izuku rushed towards Ragdoll to check on her state. Her eyes were open but she was unresponsive. What did you do? Why is she here? I had asked Compress to collect her on the way. Her quirk was far too useful to pass up. Why didn't you tell me about this? This wasn't part of the plan. The moment I activated her quirk, I came to realize that there seems to be quite a number of people outside. All for One stepped closer to Izuku. So, would you mind telling me why there are heroes outside this warehouse? Heroes? Something large burst through the warehouse. After making sure Ragdoll was safe from the debris, Izuku hid his presence. The heroes came to subdue the motionless Nomus and rescue Ragdoll. All for One announced his presence to the heroes and devastated the entire place in less than a second, knocking out all the heroes. He walked up towards one of them and started clapping his hands. As expected of the number 4 hero, Best Jeanist. That blast should have annihilated you all, but you were able to manipulate everyone's clothes and pull them away just in time. Quick thinking, consider me impressed. Best Jeanist made a last-ditch effort to attack All for One, but All for One blasted him in the stomach, knocking him out. I see. Your strength comes from practice and practical experience, not raw power. I don't need your quirk. It wouldn't pair well with Tamura's disposition. Izuku appeared beside Best Jeanist and checked if he was still breathing. He breathed a sigh of relief after he confirmed that he was still alive. Care to explain how the heroes found out about this place, Izuku? I don't know. I only told them about the bar. He glared at him. Izuku really didn't know how the heroes got here, but now that they're all out of commission, Spectre has the obligation to step in and deal with the threat. He knows he won't be able to win against All for One in this situation, but he should at least. It seems there are still a few rats hiding around here. Muddy water appeared from thin air, and from that emerged Ida, Kiroshima, Shinso, Todoroki, and Yaoyorozu. They coughed and gagged until they froze in fear when they noticed All for One. Izuku's eyes widened. Why are you here? I did not expect a bunch of hero students to find this place too. Izuku immediately stood between them and glared at All for One with deadly eyes. Hurt them, and I'll make you wish you were dead. All for One chuckled. Don't give me that attitude, my dear Izuku. Shouldn't you be happy to introduce me and your friends? Gross, Izuku recoiled. Izuku glanced at his friends who were still shaking with horrified looks on their faces. How did they get here? It's still possible that the heroes found out about this location through their own investigation, but how would a bunch of hero students know about it? The heroes wouldn't be so irresponsible and accidentally leak their intel to them. Unless the intel came from the students themselves? Izuku looked at Yaoyorozu. It's plausible. Her quirk allows her to create anything, even a tracker. She must have stuck one on one of the Nomus. It seems the heroes got Tamura. Muddy water spawned and emerged the League and Kaken, who were coughing and gagging. Sensei. So you failed again, Tamura, but don't be discouraged. Just try again, that's why I've brought your associates back as well. Even this child, because you judged that he was an important piece. Do it as many times as you need to. That is why I am here. It's all for you. All Might came out of nowhere with blinding speed and punched All for One, but All for One was able to catch his fists and stand his ground. Everyone got blown away from the impact. Izuku used his wires to catch his classmates. When All Might tried to go for the punch again, All for One blasted him hundreds of meters away. All Might! Kaken screamed. Don't you worry, it would take more than that to kill him. All for One turned towards Tamura. Get out of here, Tamura, and take that child with you. All for One used one of his quirks to forcibly activate Kurogiri's quirk. Now go. What about you, Sensei? Think constantly, Tamura. You still have much more room to grow. All Might immediately got back up and clashed fists with All for One. Sensei. Let's go, Shigaraki. While he's holding back All Might. Get your piece, Compress said. They all looked towards Kaken. Tamura took a step forward toward Kaken when a knife grazed his cheek. He stopped on his tracks to look at Izuku pointing another throwing knife at him. The next one won't miss. This is the only warning you'll get, Tamura. Tamura stared intently at Izuku before sighing. Forget it. That item has lost its value. The League members made their way towards the portal. Where do you think you're going? Bakugo tried to go after the retreating villains, but Izuku grabbed his wrist to stop him. Don't do anything unnecessary. Bakugo was about to protest when he saw Izuku's cold gaze. The League of Villains finally managed to get out of the battlefield with the portal closing behind them. This should be fine. Spectre can't fight against the League without risking the students' safety. He has no choice but to let them escape. Izuku turned towards his classmates. We need to go. All Might can't go all out against All for One with us here. They didn't give any protest as they followed Izuku towards the back alleys. When they were finally far enough from the battlefield, Izuku turned around toward his classmates. You guys are idiots. What were guys doing there? Trying to get in trouble with illegal quirk use? And you, Ida, I expected better from you. Didn't you learn anything from last time? You guys could have gotten killed. The five of them silently stood there with guilt and shame. What about you, Deku? What the F were you doing there? Midoriya was also kidnapped by the League, Yaoyorozu spoke up. I sure as hell didn't see him and he's strapped to a chair like I was. Kaken glared at Izuku. Although, oddly enough, the media only reported about Bakugo and made no mention of Midoriya at all, Todoroki spoke up. How do you know about All for One, Midoriya? Kiroshima asked. And why did that villain call you by your first name? Shinso narrowed his eyes with suspicion. Midoriya? Who are you really? Ida muttered. Izuku looked at them one by one. It would be bad for him if they even started to suspect he was working with villains. He had to distract them before that thought took hold and steer them off course. I work for the HPSC. After a few seconds, they collectively gasped at him. What? What do you mean? Since when? Are you a secret agent trained by the government? Izuku ignored their questions as he took out his phone to call Vim. Midoriya, Ida spoke up. Were you the one who killed Stain that night? Before he could finish his sentence, Spectre was right in front of him with his hand covering his mouth. He stared intently at Ida with a silent warning. A few seconds later, Vim finally picked up the call. Spectre, what's your situation? Spectre let go of Ida and spoke on the phone. Bakugo Katsuki is safe now, the League escaped, and some 1A students are with me too. I'll send Halt to pick you up. We are a bit occupied with the rampant Nomus. I'll send her the location. After the call ended, Spectre turned towards the students. I know you have a lot of questions for me, but I advise you to keep quiet about them until this whole situation is resolved. It only took about 5 minutes for Halt to arrive. She lowered her window and pushed her red octagon sunglasses up onto her head. Hop in, she said with a grin. Spectre sat on the passenger's seat while the rest sat on the back. You got here fast, Spectre commented. Ha, I ran a few red lights on the way here. That is highly irresponsible for an HPSC agent. Ida said. Oh, you're that kid from the stain incident. Didn't think you'd be in trouble again this soon. You even brought your friends with you this time. Please don't blame Ida. I was the one who initiated to do this. I'm sorry. Kiroshima apologized. Don't apologize, Kiroshima. We all agreed to do this, Yayarosa said. What's gonna happen to us? Shinso asked. They'll probably throw you in a lake or ack. Spectre elbowed Halt on her shoulder. Hey, I'm driving here. Don't scare them. You guys probably will get away scot-free in exchange for your silence about me. What? How much did they find out about you? Aldest. Not enough to be punished for, Spectre shrugged. After a few minutes, Halt dropped them off at the police station. They were all escorted to a room where they could sit comfortably. Not long after, Tsukachi entered the room seemingly out of breath. Bakugu, Midoriya, I'm so glad you guys are safe. Are you guys hurt anywhere? I'm fine, Kaken said. I already called your guardians. They should be here in any minute now. In the meantime, I'll have to take your statements. Detective Tsukachi Naomesa, I believe that the HPSC would take care of that, Vim suddenly said as he showed up on the door frame. Tsukachi furrowed his eyebrows. Why? This matter concerns one of our own agents, so it's only best that you leave this to us. And if I don't? Vim and Tsukachi had a staring match that lasted for almost a minute. Tisk. Tsukachi clicked his tongue and looked away. Spectre, I'll leave this to you, Vim turned towards him. I need to get back and assist Halt. Got you. Spectre gave a lazy salute. Vim just gave a tired sigh and left the room. The room was left in silence. Izuku observed Tsukachi's dejected expression. It's frustrating, isn't it? Izuku said, earning him a confused look from the detective. You already suspect that the HPSC is covering up a lot of heinous things, yet you're powerless to bring those secrets to light. Are you telling me to give up? Tsukachi laughed dryly. To give up and just let the people who deserve the truth stay ignorant? While I do believe that what they don't know can't hurt them, it'll be convenient if some truths do get exposed. Tsukachi looked at him suspiciously, while Izuku only returned him a smile. Anyways, he turned towards the students. I already gave you guys the gist of it back in the car. In exchange for your silence about this whole ordeal, I will erase Ida, Kiroshima, Shinso, Todoroki and Yayarosa's involvement in the situation. Izuku glanced at the muted TV nailed to the wall broadcasting All Might's victory against All for One. He narrowed his eyes. He found it suspicious that All for One lost. He knew the man had a lot of mental quirks too. Did he really overestimate him? Izuku finished making his written report. He knows there weren't any lies, and with Himiko as his scapegoat, there should be no reason for Cousin to suspect him of being a traitor. But why is he still feeling uneasy? The League successfully escaped and All for One was sent to Tartarus hours ago. He already silenced his classmates, and even if they were to spill their suspicions, their words won't reach Cousin's ears. Spectre calmed himself down and submitted his report. He stood up and made his way towards Halt, Vim and Hawks who were standing together on one side of the office. He can hear them talking about Vamps as he got closer. They all expressed how they felt about Vamps being a traitor. Vim was disappointed, Halt felt hurt but expressed it with frustration, and Hawks only showed an indifferent expression. After a few minutes, they saw Cousin walk towards them. They all immediately straightened up and they bowed their heads to greet her. Spectre in my office now. Spectre followed Cousin towards the elevator. It was a silent elevator ride. They continued to walk towards her office. She opened the doors and Spectre closed it behind them. Give me your report. I've already submitted my written report. Izuku Midoriya. Izuku's blood ran cold. I don't want to hear the report from Spectre. I want to hear it directly from the traitor himself, Izuku Midoriya. She knows. She knows 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 SHE KNO WS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SH KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHEK NOWS SHE KNOWS 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 SH 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 KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHEKN OWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS HE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOW SSHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SH KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS S HE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS S HE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SH KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS S HE KNOWS SHE 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 KNOW SSHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHEKN OWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHE KNOWS SHEKN OWS KNOWS SHE KNWS SHE KNWS SHE KNWS SH EKNOWS SH EKNOWS SHE KNOW SSHE KNOW S. How did she know? The Izuku legs lost its strength and he knelt on the floor. You shouldn't have trusted your father. He told me everything, even about how you managed to bypass my quirk. But how could he? You should have thought twice about betraying me, Izuku. So I've long forgotten that I actually had a really old draft of Chapter 1 prologue. Inko slapped Hisashi on the face, glaring at him. Are you even hearing yourself? I'm telling you, Inko, it's the only way. Hisashi said calmly. We can't do that to Izuku. Inko. I can't do that to him, Hisashi. I won't be able to forgive myself. Inko said, voice starting to get shaky. You know it can't be me, Inko. We need to follow the plan, to make it look believable as possible. The plan. Izuku doesn't deserve this. Stop thinking of him as just some pawn for your grand scheme. It's our son we're talking about for FS sake, she shouted, tears streaming down her face. Hisashi gazed at Inko before pulling her into a comforting hug. I'm sorry. No, you're not. I am. Have I ever lied to you? No. Hisashi sighed. I hate that it had to be this way too. But trust me when I say that it'll be all right, Inko. He will come to hate us, but he'll soon understand the reason behind our actions and join us. Hisashi has never lied to Inko, but it's the truth that hurts the most. All right. Say goodbye to your father, Izuku. He's leaving today. Inko called out to their son. Did you make sure that you packed everything? Inko asked Hisashi. Yes, Inko. I've packed everything I need. Don't worry. He gave her a reassuring smile. Izuku walks into the room and gives Hisashi a tight hug. Why do you have to leave, Dad? Izuku said, looking at him with his big teary green eyes. Hisashi crouches to Izuku's height. Oh, Izuku, we've talked about this. Dad has to leave for work. It's important for this family. Is it because I'm quirkless? Izuku said, tears falling down his face. Oh no, hun. Hisashi wiped the tears off of their son's face. I promise it's not because of that. Have I ever lied to you? No. Right? So trust that your dad loves you and your mother very much, and that someday, I'll come back home, okay? Hisashi kissed the top of Izuku's head. You promise? I promise. He said, ruffling Izuku's dark green hair. Hisashi stood up and gave Inko one final kiss and hug. You know I don't like this, Hisashi. I know. Stay strong, my dear. Hisashi took all his luggage and headed for the front door. Till we meet again. Hisashi waved goodbye and shut the door behind them. The moment Hisashi was gone, Inko hugged Izuku and the two broke down sobbing. Heard your husband left you the other week? Pilfer, cousin, the current head of the HPSC, said. Did something happen with your son's visit to the quirk doctor? Inko kept a blank face, trying her best to not show irritation. Yes, since my son didn't show any signs of a quirk, he was officially declared quirkless. Poor you, having to take care of a quirkless son, all on your own right? Your husband probably thought that you guys were a disgrace and left. Inko had to take a deep breath. She tried her best to resist punching the woman. Hisashi's not like that. He had to leave because of work. Sure. Well, it's a shame. I promised to give you a promotion once you hand over your son to the HPSC, didn't I? But seeing how your son is quirkless, well, we can't have someone quirkless in our ranks, can we? He'll just end up useless and dead like the others. Inko stayed silent. Am I right, Pilfer? Yes. Cousin walked out of the office with a mocking laugh. Inko rubbed her forehead as she sighed heavily, finally showing irritation on her face. Beach. I hate her, ugh. Inko growled before taking another sip of her drink at a bar. The way she just laughs behind my back. Pilfer. And that iffing face she makes. Pilfer. Ridiculing me. Pilfer. And she's been like that for the past month. Midoriya. Huh, what? Vim, her colleague, had apparently been calling out her name multiple times now. I think you've had one too many, Pilfer. We should leave, he said. I don't want a, You haven't even finished your drink, Vim. You know I don't like drinking. And besides, I just came with you, 'cause you looked like you needed someone to vent to. It'd be bad if you suddenly lash out because of that pent-up frustration. Wow. How nice of you, Inko said, taking another sip. Anyways, we really should go. It's getting late and we still have work tomorrow. I'll pay for the drinks. It's on the house, the man behind the bar counter said. It was a man made out of mist in a bartender uniform. Thanks, but why? Inko asked. It is a policy at this bar for new customers. Inko could tell that that was a load of crap, but whatever. At least she doesn't have to pay. She quickly stood up and started walking away. Vim did the same, but he was stopped by the bartender. Not for you though. What? But you just said. Vim looked at Inko for help. Inko just gave him a tired smile and continued walking. Not my problem. Inko made her way home to her apartment, still drunk from earlier. She could hear the muffled sound of the TV from outside. She opened the door and saw that Izuku was sleeping on the couch. He probably fell asleep while watching TV. Inko grabbed the remote on the table and turned the TV off. He has a quirk, Inko. Inko crouched next to Izuku and kissed him on the forehead. There's only one way to activate it. She stood up and headed for the kitchen, eyeing the set of knives on the counter. You need to do it, Inko. She took the biggest knife and headed back to the living room. He has to die. Inko stared at her son's sleeping form. Her grip on the knife tightened. I'm sorry, Izuku, she whispered. Darn you, Hisashi. So it's a bit of a different version from the prologue. Looking back at it now, why did I scrap this idea? I don't even know why. It wasn't that bad. T to the power of T. In the early stages of writing this FIC, I was debating on whether I should make all for one a father that's an a-hole but still loving, or just purely an a-hole. I was kinda leaning towards the latter during the writing of the last few chapters. But the former just has a lot of angst potential in O. Pilfer is Inko's codename BTW. And her killing Izuku was a planned thing in this draft, but it definitely wasn't in the final version. I also had an old draft of Chapter 2. It's a version where before the sludge incident, we get a scene of Izuku spying on Tsukachi, who is talking to the journalist who died in chapter. Then their conversion gets cut off by Bakuga's explosions in the sludge incident. Then after Izuku and Bakuga have a lovely interaction, Izuku actually visits Bakuga's parents in their house, and there we learn a little bit more about Izuku's quirk. We'll get to that later. I actually planned for Tsukachi to be more involved in the story. Like more scenes of him secretly investigating the HPSC. But I got lazy. Prequel, backstory time. This is a direct continuation of Chapter 1. Prologue where Inko killed Izuku. Inko panics about what she had done to her son. She calls Vim to help him deal with the situation. Here's a character info about him. Vim aka Tanoharu. Quirk, energy conversion. Can convert kinetic energy to potential energy and vice versa. The law of conservation of energy still applies. I'm not really well versed with physics, but basically he can stop moving objects from moving or slow them down. This practically allows him to stop bullets before they hit him, granted he has fast enough reflex which he painstakingly trained for. He can also absorb the energy of living things. His quirk only works in a 5-meter radius. He can sense the energy around him up to around 50 meters. From his perspective, Spectre is just purely made of energy. He can't absorb too much energy. He gets a nosebleed if he does and faints if he overdoes it. He has white streaks in his hair due to abusing his quirk during his training years. It's probably also because of the stress from his colleagues. Weapons, gun and katana. So Vim senses that there's a presence with them. They learn that Izuku became a ghost. They bring him to the HPSC where they do tests with his quirk. Specter aka Midoriya Izuku. Quirkless. His quirk activates once he dies, and his ghost separates from his body. The ghosts have ghost abilities such as flotation, invisibility, permeation, chills. He can also make the room temp go down due to his presence or his intense negative emotions. Immortality, regeneration. His ghost can still get hurt and he does feel the pain. His body is literally just dead, and his ghost is attached to an object or keepsake which he has extreme emotions attached to it, the All Might plush in Chapter 1. When the keepsake is broken, the ghost will cease to exist. Weapon, wires, knives, claw gloves. Then Izuku gets brought into a room with like a few other kids. One of them is Toga Himiko. Cousin. introduces herself and explains that they will be trained to become special agents for the HPSC. She gives them their code names. She explains their training, schooling, etc. The kids all get separate rooms. At the start, training was normal. They all get a strict schedule too, but it wasn't that bad. Cousin was actually nice to the kids. She would also hold monthly one-on-one meetings with every kid. But that isn't from the kindness of her heart. Children are just more malleable and easier to manipulate over time, especially with her quirk. Cousin aka Sunita Kasumi. Quirk, hypnotic suggestion. Can hypnotize others through suggestions and lies just by talking to them. The effect is stronger with eye contact, physical touch, and saying their name. She's slowly preparing them for the F-ed-up sheet they'll have to go through under training, so there's less rejection and retaliation. So what exactly are they training for? Silencer Protection Unit, SPU. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the name either. Members of the SPU wear a one-winged sword brooch on their left chest. They're like underground heroes, but they strictly work under Cousin, the HPSC president and the current head of the SPU. Their existence is completely hidden from the public. Only those with higher-up positions in the HPSC know of them. Any word about their existence outside of the ones who are aware of them are considered as merely rumors or myths. Unlike heroes, they can kill. The missions they usually get are reconnaissance, undercover, infiltrating villain groups, assassinating villains or political figures, doing the work and letting the heroes take credit. They are to not expose their identity, especially to heroes. If there are heroes present at the scene, the SPU are to not intervene with their work, especially if it at a public place. Only when the heroes are down are they allowed to intervene. A rare case is Hawks. He was allowed to be a limelight hero because of his looks and quirk that's good for marketing. Hawks and Halt are of the same age and are from the previous batch of trainees. Vim and Pilfer are from an older batch. Here's some character info about Halt. Halt aka Tanakamari. Quirk can freeze any non-living object in time that comes in contact with her, requires skin contact. Only she can move the object she stopped. The object retains its momentum even while frozen. The object does not need to maintain physical contact with her. She can control when the effect wears off. Without her intervention, the effect of the quirk lasts about 2 hours. Her eyes glow red when she activates her quirk. Weapon, guns. I honestly want to repurpose Halt for another story. Anyway, the kids undergo assassin training stuff. Then we shift our perspective to Inko. I wanted to characterize Inko as someone who is power-hungry. That's why she married All for One despite being a huge red flag. Somehow, someway, Inko and All for One reunite and they set up a plan. The plan starts with being able to break free from Cousin's quirk. The reason why she makes them use code names all the time is so that their identity belongs to her. Like she literally built their identity from the ground up since they were a child, therefore easier to control because they are tied to that identity. She plants early on ideas in their minds that they should always obey her. They should always tell the truth to her. The thought of betrayal shouldn't even cross their minds. The mere thought of it should make you sick because how could you think of such things? So what's the solution? Just separate your identity. But it's not really did or anything. Everyone has different personas for different situations. Like, we have a persona for when we talk to friends, another for when we're with family, etc. All for One realized it when he met Inko that in order to bypass Cousin's quirk, you need to have a very clear separation of these personas. In this case, it's Inko, which is her personal identity, and Pilfer, which is the identity Cousin gave her being her subordinate. Excuse my poor knowledge of psychology. Anyways, Inko was able to plan a betrayal. She plans to escape the HPSC with Izuku while All for One fights All Might. All for One dies, and All Might wins but is very injured, losing the stomach or whatever it was. It's Vim that actually discovers Inko's betrayal. Inko was probably leaking information to All for One or something. Vim and Inko are good friends, but his loyalty for Cousin is stronger, so he snitches on her. I also like to think that Vim kinda has this crush turned to devotion for Cousin. Cousin conducts sort of an in-house public execution for Inko. The agents all get to watch what happens when someone betrays her. And cousin has this lovely idea to make Spectre kill his own mother. Yippee! At this point of their training, they've only just started going through brutal combat training and not yet undergone the force the kids kill people until they get used to it training. So in front of everyone, cousin hands Spectre a gun and commands him to shoot Inko, but he couldn't bring himself to do it. Cousin kept using her quirk on Spectre. Spectre slowly raised the gun and aimed it at his mother who was kneeling on the floor. His hands were shaking. Inko looked at his son with tears in her eyes. Knowing she's not getting out of here alive, she smiled at him and spoke her last words. "It's okay, Izuku. You can kill me." Bang. The bullet went straight between her eyes. Inko's body fell on the floor, her blood decorating the boring white tiles. Spectre's knees gave out. He couldn't stop staring at the face of her dead mother. She was smiling. Despite no longer having any life in her eyes, she was still smiling. Spectre couldn't understand. How could she be smiling when he killed her? Trauma for my boy, let's go. I honestly wanted to draw that scene, but I'll save it for my other OCs. Anyways, more training for the kids. Spectre is absolutely out of it and traumatized. His performance tanked a lot during training. Cousin provided a lot of counseling. I like to think at some point she got really annoyed that Spectre cried so much, so she brainwashed him to just stop crying? So eventually cousin found a way to finally fix Spectre's trauma. So since the start of the training, cousin has been planting on the kids' minds that killing is okay and acceptable. At this point, the kids could have this mindset that certain people do deserve to die, but Spectre just absolutely couldn't stomach the fact that he killed Inko, someone he thinks who doesn't deserve to die. So yeah, cousin really effed up and broke our boy, so she has to take a different approach. She kept hearing Spectre's muttering about why Inko looked happy when he killed her. Maybe it's because she was happy to finally be free from this world. She lived a life full of suffering and hardship. She's probably really thankful that you were able to free her from her pain. So cousin just kept planting this idea to Spectre that killing someone is relieving them of their pain and suffering in life. Therefore, it's a good thing. That seemed to help Spectre get better. Spectre wanted to be a hero after all. And so, cousin was satisfied. Eventually, they undergo the force the kids kill people until they get used to it training. So it's one thing to think that it's okay for people to die, and it's another to actually take a person's life. So the kids had a hard time being able to take their first kill. Some were able to do it, including Himiko, and some were too scared so they got punished until they are able to do it. Spectre, however, had no problem at all with the test. "Shoo, it's okay now," he cooed at the shaking man tied to the chair with duct tape sealing his mouth. With one swift motion, Spectre cut the man's throat with a smile on his face. So anyway, the kids undergo more brutal combat training. I absolutely love what I wrote in my notes years ago: brutal training leaves kids depressed. So Spectre can see that his friends are suffering because of the training. He reminisced back to the time Inko killed him. That's probably why she killed him back then. Things were bad back then when everyone thought he was quirkless, so his loving mother just wanted to free him from the pain. Spectre gets obsessed with the feeling of death he experienced. He replays it over and over in his head. That feeling of absolute nothing, no pain, no suffering, no worries. He wanted to share that feeling with his friends too. So he talks to some of the kids who are noticeably depressed. Spectre slowly planted this idea that maybe committing death to self and sleeping eternally wasn't such a bad idea. Eventually, some of the kids do off themselves. For those who couldn't do it, Spectre killed them himself. Cousin was absolutely not happy with this. She didn't think the brainwashing she did to him would backfire like this. So she punishes him. I didn't really think of what kind of punishment. Whatever it is, it's painful. The punishment probably lasted a few days. Meanwhile, let's check out Vim. Despite his loyalties to cousin, he still feels guilty about indirectly killing Inko. He feels guilty about how broken Spectre became too. When Spectre finally came out of his punishment, Vim kinda showed care. Spectre definitely noticed he was acting kinda weird. Vim has always been the stoic type. Anyways, Hawks came to check up on Spectre. I'd say that Hawks was someone who was able to bypass cousin's quirk pretty early on. But he still follows cousin, not out of loyalty but survival. Hawks kinda helps keep Specter's psyche in check. He helped him question the reality of things. Somehow, someway, he was able to help him separate Izuku and Spectre. Izuku and Spectre both care about people and have the desire to save them. Izuku would eliminate the source of suffering. Spectre would end the person's life to free them from suffering. Izuku feels absolute guilt for taking of someone's life. Spectre feels joy for the freedom that death brings. Izuku feels anger towards cousin for forcing him to kill his mother. Spectre is loyal and obedient to cousin. Izuku wants revenge on cousin, but to do that he needs his freedom first. I wouldn't say that Izuku and Spectre are separate people personalities at this point. Izuku was just able to regain his self-awareness of what thoughts were originally his, and what thoughts cousin planted on him. Izuku decided to help Himiko separate Himiko and Vamps as well. 1, because they're good friends, and 2, because he needed an accomplice. So for the next few years, he mentally worked hard to separate his two personas. Spectre remains loyal towards cousin, while whatever traitorous thoughts he's having, he associates it to Izuku. It's not fully perfect. He still suffers from the immense guilt from cousin's quirk, but he just needs to remind himself that whatever traitorous thing he's doing is by Izuku, not by Spectre, who is loyal. It's basically allows him to contain the effects of cousin's quirk only to his Spectre persona. Himiko was actually able to do this easier than Izuku cause it. She's just built different. Thus, begins Izuku's plan for freedom and revenge. Then the whole Izuku reaches out to all for one thing happens. I'm not really sure how Izuku got his father's number. Maybe Inko left it for him when she was still alive. I just want to explain the deal that Izuku and All for One had. Cousin hid Izuku's keepsake, which is the All Might plush his parents gave him in chapter, and her quirk prevents Izuku from even trying to find it. He needs that keepsake so cousin can't threaten his life. So he asks All for One to find it for him in exchange for Izuku supporting Tamura and the League. Now for the sequel. What happened after cousin found out about Izuku's betrayal last chapter? Well, let's go back a little on how she even found out about it. Cousin immediately went to Tartarus to talk to All for One. Maybe to mock him, but also she wants power from All for One, his assets, connections and quirks. All for One actually has a plan. He will still get Izuku's keepsake for him, but anything other than that is fair game. So All for One definitely lost on purpose during a Kamino. He wanted to get into Tartarus because he knows cousin will definitely come to him. And him being an inmate could perhaps help lower cousin's guard and make her think she has the high ground. So AFO didn't just want to destroy everything to get power. He wanted to play the game of politics too, cause it's more fun for him that way. In exchange for the power cousin wants from him, he wants a position of power in the HPSC. AFO sells out Izuku to cousin, and gives her a quirk that could bring out people's emotions. Like be more honest and expressive about what they feel. Let's call this quirk open emotions. So back to the present where Izuku has a meltdown about being found out. Cousin uses her quirk to make sure Izuku doesn't try to escape. It's time for cousin to get to work. She'll be removing the traitorous side of him, which is Izuku, and only the loyal and obedient part of him will remain. So cousin uses open emotions to make Izuku open up about his feelings of revenge and repulsiveness, etc. She's identifying every part of him that belongs to Izuku and erasing it, at least shoving it deep down in the back of his mind. So she kinda lobotomized him using quirks? In the end, the only thing that's left is Spectre. Izuku and Spectre both care about people and have the desire to save them. Izuku would eliminate the source of suffering. Spectre would end the person's life to free them from suffering. Izuku feels absolute guilt for taking of someone's life. Spectre feels joy for the freedom that death brings. Izuku feels anger towards cousin for forcing him to kill his mother. Spectre is loyal and obedient to cousin. So he basically lost the ability to feel guilt about killing people and his motivation for betraying and taking revenge on cousin in the first place. So yeah, he's very messed up in the head now. The reason All for One sold Izuku out is because he also doesn't like Izuku's traitorous side. Once a traitor, always a traitor, right? He wants to be able to use Spectre too after he inevitably gets rid of cousin too. And this is the part where I'm kinda about the story now. Didn't we just lose our protagonist? He doesn't have any motivations now, T to the power of T. Anyways, cousin wants to make peace with Nizu because one of her own caused trouble. Nizu requested for Spectre to come to UA. Cousin reluctantly agrees, although she is cautious about what Nizu's planning, so she tells Spectre to relay to her what happens afterwards. So Spectre and Nizu are in the principal's office. Spectre formally apologizes. Then they do a therapy session. Nizu is trying to gauge just how much damage cousin did to Spectre. We learn that Spectre is aware of what cousin did to Izuku. He's aware of the existence of Izuku's feelings, but they feel foreign to him. Nizu discusses that as his punishment, he wants 3 favors from Spectre. Spectre accepts it as long as it doesn't goes against cousin. Nizu immediately cash-ins on 2 favors. He cannot harm or kill any of the UA students. He would hold training sessions with 1A. What Nizu wants with number 2 is to expose UA to Spectre's personality, abilities and weaknesses. Nizu did this because he is vaguely aware of All for One and Cousin's deal. While he can tolerate cousin's way of doing things, he really doesn't like All for One. He knows one day, Spectre would definitely be one of their greatest obstacle. So he's preparing UA to face Spectre. So we got a training arc. Nizu asks Aizawa to gather 1A along with All Might in the gym. Then Nizu and Spectre enter the gym together. I like to imagine that Nizu is snuggling in Spectre's scarf like with what he does with Aizawa. We get a few surprise reactions with Spectre's appearance, then Aizawa silences the class. Nizu explains that Spectre would be training them. Spectre steps forward and formally apologizes to them. He reveals himself to be the UA traitor and betraying the HPSC as well. He says that he doesn't expect their forgiveness and that he already received punishment from cousin. He also expresses that he'd like to be referred to as Spectre from now on. Aizawa is skeptical about this whole training thing. Nizu suggests that Aizawa and Spectre should do a battle trial. Spectre looks at Nizu and then realizes his intentions with favor number Spectre is happy to deliver. Might I suggest that we fight quirkless? I have too much of an advantage against Eraserhead. What's with that cocky attitude? Aizawa asked. I'm pretty sure your quirk doesn't work on me, Eraserhead. And you remember our little interaction in the training camp, right? Spectre innocently smiled at him. Aizawa's eyes glowed red as he tried to use his quirk on him. Spectre walked closer to him. Could you hold out your hand? Aizawa complied, and he watched Spectre's hand pass through his hand. See? Why doesn't my quirk work on you? Well, I don't think your quirk is ineffective against me per SE. It's more like you're looking at the wrong target. I don't understand. Spectre looked towards the students watching them. Let's look at Tokoyami for example. Could you please step forward and bring out Dark Shadow? Tokoyami complied with Spectre's request. Now, Eraserhead, if you only use your quirk on Dark Shadow, will Dark Shadow disappear? Aizawa activated his quirk. No. Now use your quirk on Tokoyami. Aizawa did as he said and Dark Shadow immediately retracted back to Tokoyami and disappeared. The same logic applies to me, Eraserhead. Aizawa realized what he was trying to convey. You're a quirk. I'm here as a ghost after all. One of the students calls out the scar on Spectre's neck that they saw back in the onsen. Spectre confirms their suspicion that did indeed die years ago, and his quirk allowed him to manifest as a ghost. That's right. I'm already dead and buried 6 feet under. Nizu reminds them that they should go on with the battle trial. He explains the rules that they will be stationed at opposite ends of the suburban map, and they will fight until the other is incapacitated or gives up. No serious injuries. Spectre comments that we won't be able to use his wires because they all just get tangled up without his ghost abilities. Nizu hands Aizawa and Spectre an earpiece so Nizu can communicate with them. The battle trial begins. The students are watching the fight. While Aizawa and Spectre are still finding each other in the map, Nizu speaks on the microphone which connects only to Spectre's earpiece. He asks him what he thinks the outcome of this battle will be. Well, in terms of combat ability alone, Eraserhead definitely has more experience than me. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have any weaknesses to exploit. What may this weakness be? You'll have to wait and see. Eventually Aizawa and Spectre meet and they fight. Spectre surprises him with a knife from his sleeve and tries to slash him, but Aizawa narrowly dodged. Aizawa noticed that Spectre fights as if he's actually trying to kill him. They fight and Spectre surprises him with a blade on the tip of his shoe. Aizawa tried to dodge but it still left a shallow cut on his arm. Somehow, during their fight, they ended up on the rooftop. When Spectre tried to dodge one of Aizawa's attacks, he fell out of balance. Since he was standing on the edge of the rooftop, Aizawa thought he was gonna fall. Spectre showed an expression of fear, and Aizawa immediately tried to reach out to him. Spectre's face turned into a wide grin as he was able to grab Aizawa and pin him on the ground. You shouldn't worry about a dead person, here's her head, he giggled. Spectre waited for the moment where he could pretend to fall and be scared. He knows Eraserhead still sees him as his student and that he cares for him. Because of this, he was able to catch if off guard. That was his weakness. We skip ahead to when Spectre already left UA. Aizawa, All Might and Nizu have a talk about Spectre. Nizu tells them about the 2 favors he had from Spectre and his motives behind them. The students gather in the living room of their dorms, and they talk about all they know about Izuku Midoriya. Ida reveals about his involvement in the stain incident. The next few days, Spectre just fights them to train them. He encourages them to learn to fight without their quirks. They never win against Spectre. In one of the training sessions, Halt and Vim visit UA. Nizu suggests the 3 of them should do a free-for-all battle trial so the students can see how assassins fight. They eventually agree. Vim lays out the rules. The fight ends when only one of them is left standing. Spectre only has 1 life since he was technically immortal. The fight begins in a city map. Spectre and Halt try to find each other, and when they did find each other, they immediately asked the other to team up. The students watching the match on the monitor asked if that was fair. Spectre gives Halt an earpiece which he stole before they entered the map. They talk about how they never won against Vim. Halt asks Spectre if he has a plan, and he just shrugs. He's the one that trained us, so he basically knows our moves. We can't even try to sneak up on him either. This is just a fake city. There are no other living things in this place except for us. It'll be easy for him to find us. You sound like you're already giving up, Halt commented. There's no incentive for me in this fight, you know? But I'll still help you out. It'll hurt your ego if you lose in front of the people watching. Shut up. Halt eventually came up with the plan that they should switch weapon. Halt would use knives and fight close combat, and Spectre would be the sniper. Halt held up a briefcase, which when opened up turned into a sniper. High-tech stuff. Why'd you even bring that to UA? You'll never know when you'll need it. I'm insanely rusty. You sure you want me on sniper duty? I might accidentally shoot you, you know? Spectre smirked. So the reason Spectre and Halt teamed up is because they know they can't beat Vim on their own. Vim can easily weaken Spectre with his quirk before he can even get close to him. Halt has higher chances. She just needs to touch Vim's clothes to freeze him in place, but Vim has higher combat ability than her. He can also weaken her just by being close to him. So it's better for them to work together. They switched fighting styles to catch Vim off guard, so Spectre's first sniper shot really matters. So Halt and Spectre separate. Halt goes to find Vim while Spectre finds a good sniping location. Eventually, Vim and Halt meet and they fight. Vim uses both a gun and katana to fight, but using a katana is disadvantageous for him against Halt, so he only uses his gun for now. Spectre looks through the scope. He was aiming directly for Vim's head. His heart was racing with excitement and killing intent. He took deep breaths and calmed himself down. His expression became more serious and focused. Adjusting his aim, he pulled the trigger. Bang! Vim was caught off guard by the presence of the sniper. He was able to slow the bullet down enough for him to dodge, but it still grazed his cheek. Halt didn't give him any chance to recover as she continuously attacked Vim, but was still able to dodge her. They fight a bit more, and Spectre made 2 more shots. I need to move now, Spectre said to his earpiece. Vim already deduced his location with just those 3 shots. Spectre clicked a button that made the sniper fold back into a briefcase. He was about to jump off the building but suddenly stopped. He can't carry the briefcase with him as a ghost since it's too heavy for him. Vim was running towards Specter's direction, with Halt chasing after him. Vim is getting real close to you, Spectre. Halt warned in his earpiece. Spectre sighed. He pulled back his arm and tossed the briefcase as far as he can. He jumped off the building and disappeared. Vim sensed where Spectre was going, so he immediately changed his direction. Spectre is able to move faster when he's invisible, so he was able to catch the briefcase before it fell on the ground. Before Spectre could even continue to run away, Vim was already on him, but he used the briefcase as a shield from Vim's katana. Spectre took out a gun from underneath his jacket and fired shots at Vim. Halt also attacked him from behind, giving room for Spectre to escape. I'm not really sure how to continue the fight. Just know that the result is Vim winning. So we kinda do a time skip. Spectre's training sessions with UA are over. It's time for the Provisional Hero License exam. Cousin watches the exam. Meanwhile, Spectre is assigned a new mission. He is to investigate the source of the trigger drag and make a deal with them. While investigating, he finds out about the quirk erasing drag too. Eventually, he finds Shai Hasaikai. He was able to sneak easily inside their base and talk to Overhaul. Spectre tells him that the HPSC wants a partnership with the Shai Hasaikai and would like to sponsor the production of the drags. Overhaul agrees. Spectre is sneaking in their base to learn more about their operations. He comes across Twice and Himiko. He learns about how the League is doing. He also finds out about Eri. They kinda bond a little. Sorry, Eri. Spectre sees her as very pitiful, therefore he wants to kill her. But he knows she's a key ingredient to the quirk erasing bullets. Cousin would not be happy about him killing her, so he doesn't. But he genuinely does care for her. Somehow, Mirai becomes aware about the HPSC sponsoring Overhaul, so he conducts the raid in secret. The raid is basically the same as canon, except that Kiroshima replaces Deku's role. When Overhaul was about to shoot Mirio with the quirk erasing bullet, Spectre takes the shot for him. It doesn't work on Spectre anyway. Overhaul gets mad about why the heroes are raiding them. He thought the HPSC was supposed to provide them protection. Spectre just shrugs and says he didn't know about the raid either. He disappears and doesn't interfere further. It continues. The same as canon. Overhaul gets defeated. Eri stays at UA. All for One learns about Eri and wants her to use her quirk on him so his face can stop looking like a chicken nugget. So Cousin commands Spectre to go to UA and borrow Eri. Spectre goes to UA with Vim. Vim will talk to Aizawa and Nizu, while Spectre will talk to Eri. Spectre talks to Eri, who was in the dorm living room with the other students. Spectre fake cries about how his father is very sick, and that only Eri can save him. Eri falls for Spectre's appeal to pity and agrees. Spectre gets strange and suspicious looks from his former classmates. Vim, Aizawa and Nizu go to the student dorms after having a talk. Eri comes up to Aizawa and says that she wants to save Spectre's father. Nizu reluctantly agrees, but Aizawa would be accompanying them. Spectre whispers to Aizawa, "Don't worry, the HPSC won't hurt her. But if you're really worried about Eri, don't let Cousin talk to her." They go to the HPSC. Aizawa jumps to protect Eri when he saw All for One. Cousin says that they won't hurt her. Spectre puts up the crying act again to convince Eri, saying he wants to see his father's face again after all these years. Eventually, Eri reverts All for One back to his state before he first fought All Might. Spectre gets hit with a wave of mixed feeling from seeing his father's face again. He feels Izuku's hatred and nostalgia. Cousin tries to talk to Eri, but Aizawa blocks her, saying they've done what they needed to do, so they'll be leaving. We skip ahead to a very fancy banquet to celebrate All for One's new position as HPSC vice president. Very influential people and high-ranking heroes were invited. Nizu was also invited, and he made Aizawa his +1. Todoroki, Yaoyorozu and Ito were also there because of their family. I like to think All for One and Spectre act like a loving father and son in front of the guests. Todoroki, Yaoyorozu and Ito were all just sitting in one table. Spectre goes to them and drops his act. Acting nice around All for One was really tiring for him. The three students freak out to Spectre that All for One was his father. And that's where my ideas end. I never really thought of an ending for FIC. Maybe we get more scenes of the League of Villains and how the HPSC will use them. Maybe we get more scenes of Tsukachi investigating the HPSC. Maybe Nizu finally helps Tsukachi. Maybe Aizawa tries to build a bond with Spectre and tries to save him cause he still cares for him. Maybe we get a scene where Spectre takes advantage of Vim's guilt for indirectly causing his mother's death. Maybe war happens. Maybe angst happens when All for One finds out Spectre's keepsake was the plushie he gave him. Maybe All for One just kills Spectre in the end. I actually wrote a step-by-step guide on how to revive Spectre if his keepsake ever gets destroyed. Find his grave. Use Ares' quirk to reverse his corpse to the state before Izuku died. The ghost will cease to exist because he cannot be both alive and a ghost. The body will not have the memories of being a ghost, but the ghost remembers everything. Get him an object that will serve as the keepsake. Kill the body. The ghost will come back. Lots of angst potential with that.